Hey everyone, and welcome to the VGA Podcast. It's Caleb and Alex back with you again this week for episode 34. And welcome back, Alex, from our summer vacation that we didn't really plan, but...
It's been a while, but I'm excited to finally start talking again.
Yeah, I know. It's been like a month or more.
Yeah, it's been a while. You know, family, summer stuff, yeah. But we're back.
We're back. And we have a lot to talk about today. So we're not doing any quizzes because we have so many shows and movies and stuff to catch up on. So the first thing we're going to talk about is we both saw A Quiet Place day one. So we're going to review that, give our thoughts. And then after that, we'll talk about The Acolyte. And I think we have, is it 6 episodes of that one to talk about? 5?
Yep.
6.
I think it's 6, yeah.
So 6 episodes of The Acolyte. And then we have 6 episodes of The Boys Season 4 to talk about. And then finally, we have 3 episodes of House of the Dragon Season 2.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah. All right, well, let's just get on into it. Let's talk about A Quiet Place Day 1. The prequel to A Quiet Place. So we'll go ahead and give our overall thoughts with no spoilers. Give it a score, and then go into spoilers after a spoiler warning. So, Alex, you want to start off on this one?
Sure. Yeah. Quiet Place Day 1. I enjoyed it a lot, actually. It's kind of more of the same as the other two, but like that's not necessarily a bad thing. I wouldn't even say I liked it more than the other two, but like it was a good prequel spin-off. You know, it had nothing really to do at all with the other two.
Yeah.
So it kind of stood on its own, but like it was kind of neat seeing just a different perspective, a different point of view, like a different environment. And also I am a sucker for seeing the kind of like day one, right? The beginning of it. I almost wish they played into that a little more. It seemed like it went into it pretty quickly.
Yeah, it did.
So I was kind of wishing to see kind of more of like I don't know, I kind of like the sense of doom feeling before like the chaos happens, and we didn't get a lot of that. And it was what we did get was interesting though. But overall I liked it. I thought the acting was good, really good from both the two main characters. Actors, I don't remember their names in real life. The actors' names.
I know it was Lupita Nyong'o, right?
Yes, she's great. And then the other guy is the guy from Stranger Things. He plays Eddie from Stranger Things, yeah. Or
Oh, I didn't even recognize him from that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He plays a different character for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But I thought that the acting was good. There were a couple nitpicks I had, but overall, I thought it was pretty good. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's above average. I still think it's solid. Doesn't add anything new to the universe if you're expecting, maybe more lore or anything. Nothing new, but still, it was a good time. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have a pretty similar review. I also gave it a 7 out of 10. It was very enjoyable. There were a lot of like tense scenes. It felt like this one had a little more action than some of the other ones, and really good acting performances. The movie went by really fast. It is kind of a shorter movie. It's like 90 minutes. But I don't think that really detracted from it. I think it was a pretty good length for the story it was trying to tell. And then like all the other movies in this franchise, the sound design just, I feel like elevates it to another level.
It's almost made to be seen in a theater. Like,
yeah. I definitely have some nitpicks that we'll get into in the spoilers that kind of brought it down a little bit. But overall, a really good movie. They told a succinct... It felt like it was someone who wanted to tell a story in this universe, and they succeeded at that. It was a really interesting story. Like you said, it didn't add anything new. There wasn't like any big revelations or like a new type of monster that really like... I don't know. There wasn't anything super shocking, but they just made a good movie in this universe, which I enjoyed.
Kind of like a cool little like spinoff, but like in the same, it's kind of, I almost wonder if they're gonna just continue kind of just doing different point of views, like
Yeah.
continue the main storyline with part 3, and then have like side projects like this where it's just like a random point of, like maybe the next one, it's someone, I don't know, in the woods, I don't, just different views.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, like kind of like an
Yeah, that would
anthology
be cool.
series, but like in the same universe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's
yeah.
interesting.
I think it made pretty decent money too.
Nice.
I think you're right though. I think the sound design, that's something I didn't mention, is top notch. I mean,
yeah,
every little thing, like it has to be with this kind of movie, I guess.
Yeah, it like makes me hold my breath and like, oh, I can't make any noise. Like it really puts you in it.
And you could hear all the little sounds, like the raindrops, like every little sound.
And you just all the characters react, and you react like, oh, what was that? Yeah, they do a really good job of building the tension just with the sound.
Yeah, and I'll say if you like cats, you might like this movie.
I liked the cat parts. Yes, I'll talk about that in the spoilers.
If you don't like cats, then you might not care for this movie. Cats, that's the third main character, man.
Yeah, true.
No, we can get in spoilers, but yeah, I would recommend to go watch it. I thought it was excellent. If you like the other two, you'll like this one.
Yeah, I think that's a very good way to judge if you want to go see this. If you enjoyed the other ones, like you said, this is pretty much more of the same, and it's a good product. So yeah.
Sweet. Let's get into those spoilers.
Yeah. So spoiler alert for A Quiet Place Day 1.
Oh. Okay. So, your cat, that was your favorite character, huh?
Oh, I love Frodo. He was my favorite character. But every time the cat was on screen, I thought two things. One, if this cat dies, I'm going to be very sad and annoyed. And two, if I were in this position with one of my cats, I would be dead so fast.
That was a quiet cat.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's like a service animal, right? So it makes sense. It's more well-behaved, I guess. But still, I mean, cats are going to make noise, so... It was a very well-behaved cat.
I don't know how I feel about the cats. I mean, I like the cat because, I like cats too. And like the cat didn't do anything to annoy me. But there's some scenes where the cat added to the tension. And there are other scenes where I kind of knew they wouldn't kill the cat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just had a sense that they're not going to.
Yeah, after a certain point, I was like, okay, the cat's going to make it. Yeah.
And so it kind of diffuse some of the tension. Like, for example, there's that scene where the Stranger Things guy, he goes off to get the medicine. And I like the scene, and this is another thing I want to hit on, but it's a different topic. But he goes into that lair thing of the monsters.
Yeah.
Like, to get the cat, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the cat, to be honest. Like, I don't hate the cat, but, like, to me, like, the cat, they focused a lot on the cat.
Yeah, they did. And a lot of it's like, something kicks off and the cat runs away. And then later on, the cat just comes back, or he goes and gets it, which every other time the cats run away, it's come back fine. I was like, dude, just leave the cat. It's fine. You don't have to go get it.
That's true. The cat always runs away and just finds their way back.
Yeah.
So, like, the cat, I have no feelings towards the cat. But I feel like the cat could annoy some people.
Yeah, I could see that, especially if you're not a cat person. And I just realized that if you consider the cat a main character, two of the main characters are Sam and Frodo in this movie.
That's funny.
Lupita's character is Samira, and her nickname is Sam, and then the cat's Frodo.
Oh, they definitely did that on purpose, right? She's like some Lord of the Rings fan or something.
Yeah.
Speaking of what, this is kind of off topic, but since we're on topic of that lair thing, what's up with that scene? I didn't understand that. Was that their food, their eggs? What were they doing? They looked like they were eating it.
I couldn't tell. There was that one really big one. I wonder if that's like the queen, and it was like it did when I first saw it. It looked like an egg, but then they started eating it. So
they started eating it.
Yeah. I wonder if
that was going to go somewhere, but it was never brought up or nothing ever with that.
Yeah. I feel like they could have added a lot of new lore with that, but they kind of just skipped over it and left me wondering, like, what is that about?
Yeah, because I was thinking like, they're planting eggs, so this is how they're gonna like go across the country and take over, or I don't know, like you said, there's like the queens here, like the big bad, like some type of one we haven't seen yet, and it just it literally did not. He didn't even bring that place up to Sam.
True.
Like literally, it was 5 minutes of that, and then never ever brought up or seen again.
Yeah.
That was
I
odd
wonder
to
if
me.
they're setting that up for the next movie, just like introducing it, and then that'll be
maybe.
a big part of the next one. I don't know.
Yeah, that was. I liked it, but it was odd to me. Like it kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man, some of the shots in this movie were like really well done, like from a cinematography standpoint. Like the two that stand out that I made notes on were the scenes in the all glass building. Like there were some really wide shots, like especially when the monsters are coming, or the like overhead shot while she's walking
feel the
in.
Scale.
Yeah. And then the other one is when she's wading through the crowd going the wrong way. And man, every time there's crowds in this movie, I'm like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. This is not going to end well.
I mean,
it's
going
to get too loud.
Suitcases and like just the footsteps in itself. I'm like, I would not be in that. And she sent the kids with the crowd too.
Yeah, they probably didn't make it.
But the one thing I'll give, so I thought the monsters looked good. You know, they almost just kind of remind me of like Demogorgons from Stranger Things.
They did, yeah.
But I thought the monsters looked good. I thought they were scary. Like every scene with the monsters, I thought were intense and they were good.
Yeah, I always forget how fast those things are.
Yeah.
Like,
they muck you up quick.
They're so fast.
The the ending almost reminded me of part one's the very first A Quiet Place. It kind of had similar scenes. Like even so, her at the very beginning, she had her nurse dude, right, that went with her.
Yep.
Which I guess we could talk about the plot before I get into that. So before all the monsters come, she has cancer, right? Terminal cancer.
She's in hospice, so she's dying. Yep.
Yes, and I will say this one is definitely more artsy fartsy than the other two. Not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in a bad way. It's just definitely more artsy fartsy. Like it felt more like, I don't want to explain it. It felt more like a
independent film kind of thing,
like an independent film. Yeah, but mixed with like big budget.
Yeah.
But I thought those scenes are good, and if she wanted, so the dude was like, or what were you gonna say before I go on?
Well, I have a question for you, but we can talk about it after the. Well, okay. I guess we can talk about it now. How did you feel about her being terminally ill, like that she knows she's going to die soon? Like, did that change anything for you about how you felt about it?
No, I liked it personally. I could see how someone doesn't like it because you can know how it's going to end, kind of.
Yeah, like that's kind of how I feel.
But I
thought it wasn't make or break, but it was like, I kind of know where this is going.
Which I get that. I totally get that. But like the journey itself, I always find it interesting when you have someone that that knows they're going to die. You know, like I guess the journey is kind of unpredictable. You know where it's going to end, but
that's true. It did allow for a lot more great acting scenes, like with her talking about it with Eric and just like her trying to come to terms with it and thinking about her dad, and like it allowed for some of those really good acting scenes. So I go both ways on it. It's like it kind of like lets up on the tension a little bit because I have a feeling she's going to die anyways, but it does also allow for good scenes. So
I agree. I can definitely see that side. And even also it does slow down the movie a little bit, just in the sense of like, you know, she's terminally ill, so she can't be moving fast. She needs her medicine. So it does slow down the movie.
That's true.
But like I didn't mind it. I think I didn't mind it because I just thought the performances were so good.
Yeah.
Between those two, between Eric and Sam, I thought they played it great. And it wasn't even like a romantic type, like
I like that more.
I do too. Like it was just two humans like trying
getting
to get
through a really tough time. Yeah.
So I didn't mind it, and I like especially in the beginning. I kind of found it interesting. Like, you know, they want to go into town, so her nurse is asking her, hey, come to town with us. We're going to see a show. When's the last time you've been into town, into New York City? And then she said she wanted to stop for pizza, which I knew that was going to be the whole thing, the whole movie. Right?
Yeah.
Like, she wants that dang pizza.
She really wants that pizza.
I will say that scene, though, when she does get the pizza and stuff with Eric, great scene. Like, I think they nailed it. But anyways,
yeah.
So they get her to go, and then they see some puppet show. And this is kind of where I felt the artsy fartsiness, like the puppet
for
stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And then they had she brought her cat. Of course, we got to talk about the cat. It's a little service cat.
Yep.
Which she was being super loud at the beginning, and she told him to shut up, and then he was quiet the rest of the movie. So he obeyed.
Yep. That's impressive to get a cat to do that.
Yeah. I was waiting for that cat to meow during the apocalypse part, but no, never. Not once.
Never. Yep.
In water, submerged in water.
I know. I was like, if a cat gets jumped in a river like that, it's gonna freak out. I was like, I don't know if that's believable.
Even in like the tunnels when they're in the water, that scene.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she grabs the cat, they go. And then the other part I thought was kind of weird was like, they meet the characters, right? The boy sees the cat, and then the dad is like, oh, leave them alone. And so they're like kind of a couple of characters introduced right there, like a father and a son.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they were going to play a bigger role. But
I agree. Didn't. Yeah, they were just there in that scene, and then at the very end, because when I saw that, like, I like that actor. I think he's a pretty good actor. I was like, oh, okay, so she's going to like group up with these guys? Nope, you just don't see him for like an hour.
They do see him when it first starts. Remember, the dude accidentally kills him
on the rooftop. Yeah,
on the roof. But that's it. Like the first 20 minutes.
Yep.
And then I thought they were going to be like traveling. Yeah, exactly. Then the last 5. So like they introduced. I almost wonder if there's like cut scenes with them or something. But because they made it a point, right? Like they didn't necessarily need to make it a point if they weren't going to be this important to the story. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I feel like they were setting up something with like that guy having regret for having to kill that guy to save them because he was shouting, and like so I was ready. I was like, oh, he's gonna have to come to terms with it, and he did it in front of his kid, and how's that gonna affect the kid? Nope, that's just not in there at all.
Seriously, and that would have been a good storyline, right? It's like the beginning of the apocalypse. It's like, oh my god, I accidentally killed this dude, but he would have killed us all, and my son saw it. Like, so I thought he was gonna travel with Sam, and there's gonna be this tension with all that, and nothing.
Same.
Even at the end, nothing.
Yeah, you just kind of see him, and he helps him into the boat.
Yeah, that was odd to me. Like, I don't know. It was odd to me. She was alone a lot of the time, until Eric comes like halfway through the movie, and she found some random kids and stuff. But I really thought they were going to be traveling with her or something.
Yep.
But like that scene was good, and then of course they go out to the bus, and I actually thought it was going to play out longer until the asteroids hit or whatever. Now I thought it was going to go another 10-15 minutes, but man, they just went into it right then and there after that puppet show. Yeah,
they did,
and it was a great scene. Like I love the chaos and the scariness and the with the ash and dust everywhere, and
it turned from a horror thriller into a disaster movie, and it was pretty seamless. I mean, I was expecting like horror thriller, but I mean, they did a really good job with that disaster movie feel.
Yeah, and again, like the noises, like you could see before she walks out of that puppet show, it's quiet, and the second she opens that door, just you could, they obviously are playing off the sound, so you could hear every little sound, loud chaos. And then, at the beginning of the movie, they have little text saying that, oh, New York produces 90 decimals, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so
basically
I did
the
like
level
all
of
that.
constant screaming. Yeah. That sounds horrible.
That sounds horrible. So you enjoyed, like, because that's like a big scene, right? Like if you screw up that kind of scene where it starts the monsters, or it starts the apocalypse in a sense, like how did you feel overall with that scene? Do you think it could have been better? Do you think they could have waited a little longer? Do you think there would have been more tension?
I liked it. I think I had some thoughts on what it was going to be like coming in, and I feel like it might have made it better. So when it starts, it's a really good scene. Like, you see all the destruction. But my problem with it is then she gets knocked out.
Yeah.
And then she wakes up, and then everybody knows about, like, oh, they hunt by hearing. I was kind of expecting, like, you're going to see people screw up. You're going to see people figuring it out. You're going to, like, learn. Yeah. You're going to see them learning. But we didn't see any of that. It was just like, boom, she's out. Boom, she's up. Oh, she knows she has to be really quiet.
That's my issue, too.
So,
like, it's like, the number one, I hate scenes where they knock you out of the action. I feel like it's a cop-out. Personally.
Yeah, especially for such an important event. Like, this is what kicks off the whole series.
I hate when movies and shows do that because, like, it almost diminishes the tension because you go from the chaos and all of a sudden you're safe in the little church.
Yep.
Like, so I did not like that either. I like the actual scene, but then when they knock her out, I'm like, oh, come on, don't do the knockout.
Yeah.
And then I agree with you. That was probably one of my biggest issues is how did, like, they knew instantly about the sound. You're not going to know, like, New York is chaos with sound. How are you going to figure out they follow sound? There's sound everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it would have taken long. I mean, we don't know how long she was knocked out, really. I guess it was nighttime.
It had to have been just hours, right? Not like, it wasn't days or anything.
No, it definitely wasn't days, yeah. It was, like, from either morning or afternoon to nighttime. Yeah. And I feel like the whole city wouldn't have figured it out by then.
No,
but I don't know.
They would not have figured it out by then. Like, I don't know. But then they had the helicopters going by. They follow sounds or whatever. The military helicopter stuff. So even they figured it out somehow.
Yeah.
Did they? Maybe there's going to be more lore to it. Maybe they've, like, seen this coming, and maybe there's, I don't know.
Yeah, that could be. It could be explained later, but for now, it's
how did the military know already? The military wasn't even. Well, I guess they were there. Well, like, how did they know so quickly? Like, it's almost like they. I don't know. There has to be more to it.
Okay, yeah. So, like, I mean, they could have had, like, satellites pick them up coming in and then track where they're going to land or something. Like, you could explain it for sure, but we didn't get that explanation in this movie, which is fine. I don't think that's that big of a deal.
It could go even more sci-fi and be like, there's already been some on the planet they've been studying. And, like, they know. I don't know. That's like, they might not get that cheesy sci-fi, but I'm just saying, I guess there's a way to explain it. But
after, like, 5 or 6 more movies, I feel like they could branch out into more sci-fi.
That's what they're going to start. They're going to do, like, a whole one in space, be like an alien movie. But no, that was probably one of my biggest criticisms. Is I agree with you. It would have been very interesting seeing these. I mean, I guess the movie would have been very quick. Well, maybe they did. Maybe you could figure it out that quick. Maybe people that are screaming or the ones getting attacked and the ones hiding are like,
it's true. Survival
not
of the fittest.
Yeah. So maybe they're like, you know what? Maybe if I don't make noise. But that would be more speculation, though. It wouldn't be like a certain thing, right? It'd be like, okay, I'm just not going to make noise.
Yeah, everybody was, like, totally sure.
Yeah, and they were, like, sure they couldn't see, like, instantly. Like, oh, it's okay. We can just walk out.
The first time they saw one, I was like, oh, I would turn off the flashlight. You don't know that they can't see light? Like,
100% I would have.
Yeah.
I was like, why'd you turn off the flashlight? How do you know? But I guess I guess by then the military people are saying that, but
I think they were only saying they hunt by sound, but that doesn't necessarily mean they don't just have really bad vision or something. But
or any vision at all. Yeah, and that's true. So she wakes up and we kind of forgot to keep talking about the nurse dude. I actually liked his character, the one kind of taking care of him. Or her. Yeah,
he seemed like a cool character. He didn't last too long, though.
No, he seemed like a good dude, and I expected him to last a little longer. I expected him to die, but I don't know, not like that quick. But
I agree.
It kind of reminded me of again, with part 1, it reminded me of when the boy dies.
Yeah, I agree. It was very sudden like that.
Yeah, and just sweeping him away, kind of. Because, like,
although,
the generate...
Is a shirt tearing going to be loud enough to? I guess I don't know. Like, his shirt tears, and that's what they hear, right? I'm pretty sure. And then
it was like the shirt. Yeah, it wasn't shirt tear, and I don't remember specifically if there's more noise after that.
Yeah,
but it definitely is. That's what started it.
Yeah,
but I don't know, because then you have, like, just like footsteps are kind of loud, like a shirt tear. Maybe, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, that's some artistic license that they could take.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue that, that for sure was not going to be loud enough for them not to hear it. Like, yeah, they could probably hear it. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's.
I'll give this movie the benefit of the doubt because they do a good job with like playing with noise.
Yeah.
Like, even in part 1 and part 2, they made the sand trail so they don't make footsteps. Like, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I just kind of to harp back on what you were saying. I was upset with her getting knocked out because I expected to kind of them play around with the New York noises a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the beginning.
It would have been cool to like hear the city start quieting down or like notice it, or I don't know. I feel like they could have done some cool artsy stuff with that
like
too.
Like little scenes of like people in an office like trying to run or hide or it's like New York. You have like all these high rises and buildings and people.
Yep.
I don't know. But so like the knocking out, like I said, it just kind of cheapened it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then you get that scene where the power goes out, generator turns on, and her little nurse friend dies.
Yep.
They were gonna go get pizza together. Now it's just her, and then you had the other people, the dad with his son.
Yep.
And that was a good scene though, seeing like the military kind of take out the bridges. That kind of looked cool.
Yeah, that was cool CG. Yeah,
like it looked really good. And then that guy kind of looked crazy.
When the helicopters fly by and you just hear all the monsters like whooshing by the door, I thought that was like a really cool idea.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, it reminded me of just like some one big herd, or even seeing them like all climbing on all the buildings and like running towards them.
Yep.
Yeah, then one of the dudes goes crazy. And they're like, we're all gonna die anyways. And that's when the father kills the dude while his son was looking, and he felt bad. And I thought that was gonna go places, and it didn't even matter.
Yep.
There has to be cut scenes, right? Otherwise, what was the point of that?
I agree. There probably was. Either that or they're setting him up as a main character in some other spin-off or something. I don't know. They
could have Eric and him kind of be... Actually, that would kind of be an interesting thing. Because we haven't... Well, I guess we kind of saw it in part 2, but you could see them start to rebuild like a town that they feel safe in, and maybe they're kind of main character. That'd be cool. I'd be up for that. But they were going to do a different direction and focus on like multiple groups, like them and then her, and they just changed their mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that too.
But yeah, then after that, she goes off on her own, and that's kind of when her little journey starts. And she's, I mean, a lot of the middle movie is just, which she finds like a fountain, right, to eat or something. Yeah. Oh, no, first she goes to the convenience store, right, and gets a flashlight and all that crap.
Gets cat food, flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes to the fountain and she sees two kids just like huddling under the fountain. She goes over and gets them and brings them to relative safety, I guess.
Yeah, they kind of travel, monsters, attention, all that stuff, and they find the crowd, and of course, I like the look of that scene, like you said. It's her kind of going in different directions, the crowd, and there was, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
You know what it felt like? I feel like there's a very similar shot in Dune Part 2 where he's in the crowd and you see it part.
Oh, yep.
And it kind of goes overhead shot. I feel like it was similar to that. Really cool shot.
Yeah, it was an awesome shot. And then, you can see her staring at, like, there's a guy in a wheelchair. This wheelchair's making a noise. There's a suitcase
Kid
is making
rolling
a
noise. Backpack. Yeah, a suitcase. Mm-hmm.
And you kind of see, like, a monster out in the distance. And boom, everything hits the fan.
So fast. Yeah.
Yeah, instantly. She loses her cap. She hangs under the car. There's some tension with the car. She escapes the car.
Yeah,
it's all good stuff.
Pretty claustrophobic. That was a pretty tense scene because she's like under it and the tires deflating and she's getting stuck. And I was like, "Oy, that's not good."
And then, even if you get out, there's like freaking monsters out there that can attack you.
Yeah, out of the frying pan into the fire. Yeah.
So then that happens, and she finds an alleyway. She lost her cat, and then it just randomly switches to Eric, just randomly. It was kind of weird. It was kind of jarring. Like we're 30 minutes into the movie, 40 minutes in the movie, and then like
and I was like, he just like pops up from the water, and I'm like, what was he doing? Where? I mean, I'm looking at the summary, and it says he escaped a flooded, like subway. Which, I mean, he does pop up out of a subway station.
Why did they show any of that, though?
I don't know.
I really do wonder if they meant to, like, follow like 3 different storylines and it all connects.
Yeah. Like, I think the point of showing him coming out of the water is because later there's another part where they have to go underwater and he kind of freezes up. So it kind of shows, because he's like in shock after coming out of that subway, and then grabs on to, like, latches on to Sam, even though she's not trying to get to safety, because she's like the only thing in the world that seems normal.
No, he's like the lost puppy kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then the cat finds him, and the cat leads him to Sam.
Yep.
Because then the rest of the movie are kind of following them, which I loved their scenes. I mean, I almost wish we saw Eric from the beginning, just like kind of his point of view too.
Yeah.
And like slowly saw them meet up, you know? Like the stories kind of interconnect.
Yeah, I feel like they could, if they do have those scenes, put out like an extended edition, like Lord of the Rings extended edition.
Yeah, like it feels like they had. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe it's more artsy fartsy than I thought. But I feel like there should be scenes of of Sam and her stuff like we saw, and then maybe it cuts away and like maybe like Eric had all of his scenes in the subway and it starts flooding and all that. And you see the father and them kind of traveling to the boat, and then it all sort of connects.
Yeah,
but yeah, like, it didn't play out like that, which is fine. I don't know.
Yeah, it was, if they didn't shoot those scenes, I think it was just they knew what story they wanted to tell and just stuck with it. Yeah. So,
and Eric was a great character. He kind of, like you said, deals with like anxiety almost a little bit.
Yeah, and PTSD, trauma. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So all their scenes are great. I mean, when she first told him she's going to go get pizza, he's like, what?
Yeah, which that's an appropriate reaction in an apocalypse. Yeah.
Like, I love their scenes. Like, they go back to her old apartment, or I think it is.
And reminisce about like her dad, his parents, and his life.
Again, the acting was top
so
notch.
Good.
Like, they were great. And even, the storm was happening and the thunder was going off and they would scream.
Yeah.
To relieve some tension. Like, everything about that was great.
Yeah, and all of these movies, like, they get such good actors that can do so much acting without saying a single word. Like, you can just see on their face exactly how their characters are feeling. And I feel like that's really hard to do without
for sure.
Being able to make any noise.
Yeah, like, seriously, like they're hardly can even talk in the movie.
Yep.
And you still,
and when they do talk, it's really good dialogue that really tells you a lot about their backstory. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really liked all their stuff. And, after that, they travel to go get pizza and have to go into the subway, like the flooded subway, which again was a good scene. Tension, super scared, creepy, like the Demogorgon thing crawling on the ceiling, chasing him.
Yeah. That was a cool shot.
And then, of course, she's sick, right? So then they have to go on a little side mission to get her some medicine.
Get that fentanyl.
Yeah, we got the side mission, man. You always got to have, it's like video game.
Yep.
And you kind of follow, and I like those scenes too. Of course, the cat shows up and freaks him out.
Yep.
He's finding the medicine. And
when he's trying to get the cat back, there's like one jump scare that I was not expecting. He's like on his way to get the cat over the beam, and then that big one just like pops up right beside him. I was like, oh shoot. That
was the one time it got me too. I was not expecting that. And again, we've talked about that scene. Super cool scene, but like, I don't know. It just wasn't like, I just thought
don't know the lore behind it. Yeah.
It was super interesting. And like we talked about before, I thought it was like eggs and like they're like, but then they were eating it. So like, what the heck were they eating? What were those things?
I wonder if it's, no, I don't know. I don't know.
Do they eat their offspring? Or I don't understand.
Or can the queen only make food that they can eat? So they have to like go back to the queen to eat or something, or if that is the queen, that's an assumption.
It looked like a lair, didn't it? Like,
yeah, it did for sure.
Like with eggs planted everywhere, and then like when they started eating, I'm like, wait a second, what are they eating? What is this? And it's never explained.
Very weird. Yeah,
I really do wonder if there are going to be more movies or shows or something.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like this universe would make a good TV show, like on HBO or something.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know.
I feel like they could do something with Eric where he's like the only one who knows about that place, and so he becomes important on finding it. He finds someone that's like looking for it. They like figure out there's a queen and they're trying to find it, and he has to like lead them there or something like that.
Yeah, true, because he's the only one who's seen it, or a living person that's seen it.
Yep.
Or we're thinking too much, or we're hoping too much, and it's just going to be nothing.
Yeah, that could be too, for sure.
But he brings the medicine back, and then they finally make it to the pizza place. It's burnt down.
Yep, a semi crashed into it.
And again, I liked how they sat next to the fire, and in the sewage, so like kind of near noise.
Yeah.
So they can weep a little bit. Little things like that, I really like.
Yeah, I love that.
And then they found a bar nearby. Eric's like, there's a bar. Where did your dad play piano?
Yep. So they go to that jazz club.
And that scene was probably my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, that was a really good scene.
I loved it. It felt just like human. Like you said, there's no like romantic tension or anything. It's just two good people just trying to be normal.
Yep.
Like
trying to feel normal in this crazy situation. Yep.
Yeah, because he finds a pizza, brings it there, and then they drink a little bit.
I think so he went and got pizza from a different pizzeria, and I think he put it in the box of the pizzeria that she always gets it from. And there was a part where she takes a bite and then like looks like, I couldn't tell if it was like, this is gross after a few days, or this isn't pizza from Patsy's, but like you could tell she was like, this is different.
Yeah, like it looked like she's like, this is all right.
Yeah, not as good as I remember or something. Yeah.
But I really like that scene. Then they had a couple drinks, and then he's like come up on stage, and that whole scene
did the magic trick.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the first time she's smiled since the apocalypse started. That was a really cool moment.
And just obviously have to be quiet, but like just the Stranger Things guy, he just had that charisma, and that was just a great scene. I love that scene. Just like a very human scene.
Definitely.
Then after that, we're pretty much at the end, right? Then they see the.
I feel like the ending was really quick. Like I was not expecting it. It just. Oh, I don't know. Was expecting the ending part was so fast.
I thought it was. I don't know. I thought they were gonna have to like sneak around a lot more, like go through like, okay, we got to go through these 3 buildings and get here.
Yeah, I almost felt like when they were watching the boat from so they see the boats on the river with the survivors, and they were watching it. Yeah, I was like, I wonder if the aliens are going to find a way onto it. It's going to sink, and then they're going to have to figure out some other thing, because it like lingered on that shot for a long time, and I was like, oh, something bad's going to happen. But it didn't.
You can see all the aliens like right at the edge of the water, like trying to figure out. I was like, are they going to get too close to the bridge and they're going to be able to jump on? Like, how are they going to? Yeah, I definitely had a foreboding feeling there. So, kind of like we mentioned at the beginning of the review, it's definitely very predictable, because obviously we're trying to make it not predictable.
Yeah, because that's the norm. Is the people making the movies are trying to like subvert expectations.
Yeah, so I guess they subvert our expectations by not subverting our expectations.
Yeah, I mean that does kind of work. Yeah,
yeah, I guess it does.
It's like the anti-meta when you're expecting something and then they just don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The ending, they have to make it there, and they're in the middle of all these cars, and it's what Sam's like, you take the cat, you go. she makes all this noise, and then they have a little run where Eric has to run off the dock into the water because the aliens can't swim.
Yep. And she's like smashing cars, making as much noise as she can, drawing them away.
And they still don't get drawn away, so he's kind of running on the dock. Which good, like intense scene was good.
Yeah,
I actually wasn't sure if he would make it. That was one thing where I'm like, I wonder if they kill him off. Maybe I was again.
Something bad has to happen here that we don't expect.
Yeah, and like it did. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's it. And then they meet up with the father and the son again.
Yep.
Well, I guess for the first time he does, but the cat meets up with them again.
Mm-hmm.
And the cat lives. That's all that matters, right?
Yes, the cat lives. And there were two pretty cathartic scenes at the end there. So one of them, he finds a letter in his pocket from Sam, and she like told him, "You better take care of the cat," and he like is feeling sad about her not being there. And I thought that was a good scene showing their connection. He has her
sweatshirt.
Yep.
Or her sweater, whatever it was.
Sweater?
Cardigan, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was a cardigan. Sure.
Yeah.
And then the last scene of the movie, unless I'm forgetting a scene, but Sam is listening to a song with headphones in a stereo, and she's just walking down a street, and she's ready for it to be over, and she just unplugs her headphones and lets it play. And I loved that last part where you just see the alien drop down super fast and then cut to black. It's like, yeah, that's a good ending.
Yeah, that's a good ending. That's honestly, it's how it should end. You know, it's I don't know. It's like it's real, right? Like she has cancer. She knows she's not going to live. She's not going to always have this medicine. She's getting weaker. Like she said, she was told she'd only have 2 years. It's been 3 years, and 6 months. It's been 10 months, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's how it should have ended.
I don't know what other way it could have ended. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like she was going to get to the boat and they'd find a miracle cure for cancer during the apocalypse or something.
Like, I do get what you mean when you say it kind of made the movie less intense because you know how it's probably going to end. So I do get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it played such a big part of the story that...
There's also so much other tension in it. I mean, there's other characters that aren't on their deathbed. Mm-hmm. There's the cat. There's the sounds building the tension. I think it wasn't really that big of a deal. It was just something I noticed. Like, I kind of know that she's going to die. I mean, I know that she's going to die. So it's just about when and where.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Like, maybe I'm also a sucker for like sci-fi and also like this is kind of like a thriller. It's not even a horror movie. I feel it's more a thriller. Yeah,
I agree.
And I enjoyed it. I like this universe. I like the concept. I hope in the next one they dig more into the lore. Maybe with part 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like that. I'm trying to remember part 2. I feel like they were starting to learn a little bit more about it with like the radios and stuff about them. So I hope they kind of keep going with that, learning more about them, their weaknesses, maybe even why they're here or what they're trying to do. I would definitely like to learn more about that.
Because it's like getting farther into it, right? So they probably they start, getting into some bunkers or government bunkers, or I mean, like you said, they kind of. I really liked part 2. Yeah, I need to rewatch it again.
Yeah, I haven't watched either of the first 2 in a while. I liked them both a lot, though, from what I remember.
And part 1, great too. Like part 1 subverted my expectations. Like I didn't, spoiler if you didn't watch part 1 or part 2, don't listen to this part. I didn't expect Homeboy to die in part 1.
I know, yeah.
Like that subverted my expectations. I wasn't expecting that.
Yep.
And then like even in part 1 with the birth scene, when she's like giving birth like part 1 was great.
Yep.
So I still think I prefer those 2, but like as like a side movie, like I think this is perfect.
Yeah, I agree. Really cool story in the universe, which I feel like we don't get that often. Like just a totally separate story in a known universe is.
I mean, you have like the Cloverfield movies, but those are kind of like not great.
Yeah, true.
Because there was that. Do you ever see that? So have you ever seen Cloverfield?
Mm-hmm. I've seen. And the one that came out on Netflix I saw, which I feel like those. That was interesting. It does kind of connect them, but at first it feels really disconnected from the other ones.
Did you see the one where they? It was John Goodman. They're in the underground bunker.
Yeah, that was a good one. Great.
But they're like loosely connected.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
So like this is more. This one's like way more connected in the sense of like those. I feel like they're just doing different concepts of movies set in the same universe or trying to set in. I didn't see the Netflix one.
Yeah, that one was a little more abstract.
Mm-hmm. So, I want them to make an actual Cloverfield too.
Yeah.
Like a different point of view type thing.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Anyways, you're right, though. We don't get a lot of this.
Yeah. One thing that I was going to say before, but I forgot to mention was it did seem like this movie was, because in part 2, we do see the start of it, right? We see a flashback to like the baseball scene.
Beginning, yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they were like, what if we did that, but in a giant city? And that was like the basis of the movie. And I kind of like that. Like, what if we take this idea that we've already done and put it in a different setting and see how it goes? That's a cool idea
like
for a little spin-off.
Just seeing different point of views.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a million points of views of that.
Yeah. I will say, actually, you remind me of that. That was in part 2, the very first scene. And I almost think that opening was better than the start of this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it was in that small USA town, and like they didn't black out.
Yeah, and it had some cool shots of like just like long shots of just following him. Yeah, and just looking behind him and seeing the destruction. And yeah, that was a really good opening scene.
Yeah, but oh well, it's still good. Good movie.
Yeah, still good for sure. Let's talk about The Boys, Season 4. So we've been on a bit of a break, so we have a lot of episodes of this to talk about. So we have 6 episodes. We're going to give our overall score of the season so far, and then say which episode has been our favorite to kind of like speed up, and we're not just rattling off a bunch of numbers at the start of this video. So I'll go ahead and start, and then Alex, you can give your overall score.
Okay.
So for me, I've been really enjoying this season, and I feel like there's been some really high highs in this season. I think so far, I'd give this season overall probably, I'm like between a 7 and an 8. I think I'd give it an 8 for some of the like really good scenes that I've enjoyed.
Okay.
And I think my favorite episode, hands down, is episode 4. It gives some really cool backstory. It has some amazing performances. It goes into like why Homelander is the way he is, and Homelander is just so good in that episode. I loved it. So episode 4 is definitely my favorite of the season so far.
Okay. Man, we are too similar with our likes of shows and movies. I'm trying to make a controversial statement, but I can't because I agree with you. I would give it an 8. I'm actually pleasantly surprised at how much I'm enjoying the season. Just because, like, I love The Boys, but I'm like, I feel like I'm almost getting desensitized now with how crazy it is.
I agree. And, I was a little worried about that.
Yeah, but like, I am pleasantly surprised how much I'm enjoying it. Even some characters I was worried about, like Brainiac or what's her name,
Sage.
Yeah. I was worried about her because I'm like, oh god, this better not be the reason why Homelander's downfall is. She's smarter than everybody. She's perfect. But they've done stuff with their characters that have actually made me really enjoy it and kind of, again, like subverted my expectations and it made her more of a character and not just a smarty pants.
Yeah, I agree.
So even little nitpicks I had at the beginning, they've turned to me in the last few episodes, and I 100% agree with you. Episode 4 is the reason why people like The Boys. Like that is Homelander is excellent. This show would not be the show it is without Homelander, and it showcases it. This episode so intense, so amazing. Yep. I loved episode 4. And honestly, episode 5 is a close second for me. I really liked episode 5.
I was just going to ask what your second favorite was, hoping we'd have a different one, but episode 5 is my second favorite episode. that one, like, you get some reunions, you get some more great acting, some like reveals, some emotions, some connection to like Gen V. It was also a really good episode.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to talk about spoilers.
Yep, let's get into spoilers. So, spoiler alert for all of The Boys Season 4 so far. We're going to talk about up through episode 6.
1 through 6. Yeah, it's funny. So I agree with you. Episode 4, just the intensity of it. Like, that is when Homelander's at his best.
Yeah.
Like, it was so good. There's almost no music, and Homelander just, like, he's gonna do something, but you're just like kind of waiting, and it's so good.
Yeah, the tension building in that. And I love when he's like smiling and just like pretending to be like, oh, we're just friends. Here's a Fudgy the Whale. And then he just like, his face drops and he's like, get in the room. Or get in the furnace, whatever it is. It's like, oh, okay, it's about to kick off. There it is. We've been waiting for this entire time.
And there was one scene later on when he's telling the dude to take down his pants and stuff, where he actually started laughing like a maniac, and I'm like,
and like telling other people to like make fun of him. Oh man, that was
that was. Yeah.
The actor for Homelander, I feel like he's really like gotten into that role, and he nails it.
I would be scared
I feel like he gets better.
That's how good he has.
Yeah, I know. I've seen some things where he's like saying, oh, everybody always says I'm nothing like my character. And he's like, I hope not. My character is like a psychopath. But he just plays him that well.
Seriously, I don't think I've ever in any show ever like seeing a character where I would be terrified to be in a room with him this much.
Yeah, it's interesting to have someone that psychopathic and that much stronger than everybody else.
Yes, it's just insane. You're right. The power level, like he could easily just take over everything. And he's a psycho too. So like, that's probably where it's going. But.
And I like a lot of what they're doing, showing why. So I feel like this episode showed why he has some of the issues he has, like the mommy fixation for him. Yep. Like he never had that kind of love in that, bunker where he's in this room for all this time and having these tests ran on him.
Which they play into that in the last episode too.
They do. Yep. And it also... It's going into him getting older, like he's getting gray hairs and he's noticing it, and it's like throwing him off. You get a lot of these shots of close up on him where he's like kind of shaking and freaking out a little bit inside, and I like showing why he's becoming more unhinged.
And I feel like that episode is terrifying because I feel like that was him letting go, like, okay, you know what, screw this, I'm done being their puppets, I'm gonna do what I want to do. It's like the overarching just growth in a sense of him. It makes it even scarier because that was like him letting go, like, screw you guys, like my final goodbye to you guys, like I'm not gonna be a puppet, kind of like what he's been telling Ryan. So like he's getting there, man.
I almost feel like what he's telling Ryan, he's like trying to convince himself of to or something. I don't know. There's something going on with that.
It's weird because he's almost like, this is going to sound weird because he's not a good father, but the last couple episodes, he's almost like kind of been a better father by like listening to Ryan more. But like he's still steering him obviously in a murderous direction. You know what I mean?
Slightly better than being mean to him and like putting him down, but still not great. Not
trolling him, but he kind of is still in a sense. Oh god, that sounded dirty just coming out of my mouth. But episode 4, great. And then my second favorite, I guess our second favorite episode 5. My god, the acting, Simon Pegg, great. Like the acting, that episode for a character that's hardly been in a show, like that episode actually made me feel something, and I'm sure it did for you too.
Yeah, they did that. That was probably like the whole episode is great, but that is what resonated with me the most because my dad passed away 3 years ago. So it like seeing that goodbye, and yeah, that really hit me pretty hard. So those were, like you said, the acting in those scenes were so good.
God, and just like him, like Simon Pegg kind of. So they give in this episode the mom or Huey's mom is there, and she gives him the
compound V,
the compound V dose, because he was going to, but he decided not to. Yeah, she did it, and so he woke up feeling fine. He's been in the hospital, was super sick. He was probably going to die.
Yeah, he had a stroke and was in a coma. Yep.
And then her mom gives it to him, and then he starts to seem normal at first, and then just he randomly forgets things, and then he figures out his powers, and he's like just like murdering people, and you could see the fear in his eyes when he like kind of snaps out of it. It's such good acting.
Yeah, so he basically gets like Kitty from X-Men, her powers.
Yes, yep.
And I've always wondered, like, what would happen if she just became, physical in something or someone, and this episode showed that, because that happens a lot.
Yeah. They showed that one dude, right? He's like, "Oh, just go on a date with me afterward." Like, it's a little small scene, and then he like transports in the middle of him and just like inside him and just explodes him.
Yeah.
But yeah, the biggest thing is just I think honestly the performances heightened it, because this could have just been another death, another, I won't want to say pointless, but it could have been like just like a side story that we ended up not caring about.
Yeah, and an interesting thing about this episode is I feel like both of because there's like two main story beats in this. There's that part with Huey and his dad, and then there's the other part with Stan Edgar and going to the farmhouse and like learning about the virus and the connection to Gen V, and that all is done really well as well. Like, it has two really good storylines.
And I love
some of the earlier episodes had some other storylines that I didn't care as much about, like some of the Frenchie stuff, some of the Kimiko stuff. I don't really know where it's going.
So we'll get to him.
Okay, yeah. But this one nailed both storylines for sure.
Both storylines were interesting. You had like a more personal one that doesn't necessarily move the plot, but it kind of moves the plot in the sense of Huey. Yeah. Like him just as a person.
For sure.
You're right, with the farm stuff, that was interesting. But this is off topic, kind of. But like, I love the song they used E-I-E-I-O at the end of the episode. I was cracking up.
I don't know if I noticed that. I'm gonna have to go back and see.
You need to go back and literally the credits are like Old MacDonald, like the kid song. Old MacDonald had a farm. Yeah. I was cracking up like,
that's probably the only part of The Boys, if it's in the credits, that you could show your kids and be okay. They'll just be dancing to the song. That's funny.
But yeah, I agree. The farm stuff was super interesting. When I saw that little beat up chicken, I was cracking up.
Yeah.
The way Mother Milk or MM, they call it, the way he said it was like, "Is that a chicken? Beat up chicken?" I was like, dying.
Yeah, that was funny.
But yeah, I kind of like
we got Stan Edgar back.
Together.
I love the actor who plays Stan Edgar, so that's always a treat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is we kind of had like a lot of characters kind of working together. So it's like an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, like having Stan Edgar, Newman, and then all the boys working together is so interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was excellent. And then, of course, the reason they go to that farm is that was Stan Edgar's old farm, right? They were using or Newman was using as a
they're trying to find Newman, so Stan thinks he's there, and then they find out that it's been turned into a lab working on a virus.
Another thing I loved is they've really started connecting a Gen V to the show too. Yeah, even a couple of the actors popped up just for like a couple scenes, but like I was happy to see that.
I agree. Seeing them with the boys that's so cool, and it connects like that. I love it.
Yeah, and just like hearing, God, what's his name? I can't think of his name right now.
Which one?
God, what's his, God, the main guy, not Huey. Why can't I think of his name right now?
Butcher.
There you go. My lord. Yeah, Butcher. Even just hearing him talk about, I went to VOT or whatever, and it's been cleared out. So like they're
the school Godolkin.
Godolkin University, and it's been cleared out. So like they even kind of addressed that. Like, why not just go there?
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, episode 4 and 5 are definitely the standouts.
Yep.
So some of the issues I had, not like you said. So I think the first couple episodes they were good, but there were definitely like the Kamiko storyline.
Yeah,
literally don't care about that stuff. I'm gonna be real. I don't at all.
Yeah.
And then also Frenchie, like this character just like turned into a different character. And it's not that he's gay. I don't even care about that. They even mentioned in one of the earlier seasons he's bi.
So like, I don't care about that at all. Yeah.
What I don't is they pretty much disintegrated him and Kamiko's relationship that they've been building up for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Like, it's gone. Like, there's no relationship between those two.
By episode 6, like she can't even, like he's in prison. She can't even get in to see him because he keeps like denying her. And yeah, it's like that's just totally gone. And
Frenchie,
and I feel like
season has been the worst.
Yeah, and Kamiko's been like trying to be supportive, trying to give him what he needs, and Frenchie's just like not having any of it.
And he's going off doing his own thing. And again, he's with his boyfriend, and he killed his family. So that's like a whole storyline.
He's back on drugs after he's been off of them for a while. And
it's like his character flipped a switch. I don't know. Like I do not. And he was one of my favorite characters in the earlier seasons. And this season, I don't care for him at all.
I feel like there's been another character who they've changed a lot of how I view them in this season, which I was not expecting, and that's Starlight. Like, with Firecracker and the story about how she like was really mean to them and really mean to Firecracker in the pageant. I'm like, that doesn't sound like Starlight. I didn't think that's who she was. I mean, I guess she could have been younger and stupider, but still, I feel like we would have seen some of that before season 4.
Yeah, Starlight's character, I agree. And also, I feel like she hasn't really done anything this season except for beat up Firecracker in that one scene.
Yeah.
Other than that, hasn't she kind of been standing around? She hasn't done much.
Yeah, her powers aren't working, and I just realized I'm not totally sure why. What's the reason that her powers aren't working again?
Is she scared that she's gonna do public humiliation again, and like maybe because it started happening after she beat up Firecracker?
Yeah,
so maybe she's just like worried, like she's gonna get out of control with it. Is what I see from it.
Okay, yeah.
Is she scared that she can't control herself with it?
And it could also be how I see it. A combination of that, and she tried to put Starlight behind her and just be Annie, and so that all of that. Yeah, so okay.
I think it's like a mental block type thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't know, for a character who especially last season was one that's like I'm gonna, even at the beginning of the season, like I'm gonna build my own. Not Starlight. I'm going to be a figure for the people. That's not like she hasn't done anything.
Yeah,
she literally hasn't. Right? Like,
yeah, I agree. She's just been the face of the Starlighters, kind of, but she's not even Starlight anymore. And
and she's not. She doesn't really like. At least from what we've seen, she doesn't really like speak to the people, and like I don't know. She doesn't seem very involved, at least from what we've seen, maybe behind the scenes and stuff, but I agree. I think Frenchie and Starlight are the two characters, because like Kamiko is fine. Like I don't care about her side story at all, but like her as a character, totally fine.
I still like her character for sure. And
I like him. The actor lost a ton of weight.
I know. I was like, is that a different actor? But his voice, I was like, no, that's definitely still him. I
literally had, when I first saw him, like, wait, who's this guy? And then they said, I'm like, wait a second. I mean, good for that dude.
Yeah.
But I still like his character. Like, I like his struggles between being a leader and like
having to make the tough decisions. Yeah.
So, and they play into that with Butcher and him.
Yeah, because Butcher's kind of a psychopath and will make the hard decisions even if nobody wants him to, but it's a lot more of a struggle for MM.
Yeah, and they show him later in the season kind of trying to, cope with it and meditate and all that stuff. So, like, I like his character's been great. Honestly, all the characters have been great except for Frenchie and Starlight.
Yeah, even the new characters, like you said, I really like Sister Sage. I feel like having someone that's that smart and can stand up to Homelander is great. It gives them a really a different kind of villain to fight against. You have to outsmart the smartest person on the planet. That's going to be tough.
Yes, I will say, don't you? They better not. They better not do like a Captain Marvel and she's the one who defeats Homelander, because that is too easy of a cop out.
Yeah,
and I don't think they
agree.
are.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But I was worried about that at the beginning. I like her character. Especially they kind of show her, which I could not watch a scene where she's telling the Deep to poke her eye brain or whatever.
Yeah, that was rough to watch.
That was one of the like I'm normally not like cringy, but like that scene, ooh,
squeamish.
Ugh.
Yeah,
squeamish. There you go. Yeah, but like I like how they show her character's a little deeper, and you think like she wants to be dumb. She wants to just have Taco Bell and not be the smartest person in the room. It's like they've even made her character well-rounded and not one-dimensional.
Yeah, which, I mean, that could definitely be a one-dimensional character, but yeah, adding that
easily.
That was a cool
and she still gets outsmarted. Like, even in there's a scene with, what was it? Where she asked why so-and-so was there at the party. It was in the last episode. And,
Ashley. And just,
she's like, I gotta buy if she has all the...
If she has all the information, I feel like she can use it to like make the right decision. But if she doesn't have the information, like how would you know? Like, she can still be surprised by stuff if she doesn't have enough information.
Which I like that. You're right, because she could have easily been that character where like she's just the perfect character. She's always gets outsmarted, or not outsmarted. Sorry, she always outsmarts everybody, and she's nothing goes wrong for her. But they still make her lose sometimes. They still make her want to be normal. So I think she's good. I was worried about her character, but no, I like her character. And same with Firecracker.
Yeah, I was going to mention Firecracker next. I think she's also an interesting character. She's a really good depiction of like a figurehead of a pretty fringe, extreme group. And I think they do that really well in this season. And they've done stuff like that before, like in season 2, where they showed like the person getting radicalized and going on a shooting spree. And I love all that stuff of like kind of connecting it to the real world. And it's
and she does do a good job with it, and she's kind of smart in her own ways, because she might not be smart like Sage, but like we saw in the last episode, she knows how to please people
and rile people up.
So like she's smart in her own way, and I don't necessarily think she's necessarily like a villain. Like, I think, she has her extreme views, but I feel like I don't. She's not like a. I don't know.
She's not like a take over the world type of villain. She's like she's out for herself, wanting to get famous and be loved by all. Kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It's no almost like she's insecure, and she'll do whatever to make herself feel better. So like, I almost see her character as kind of like tragic in a way, because like you could see like even her in the last episode, like. Devoting that much time to Homelander by being able to breastfeed him. Yeah, and you know what I think is funny is I think she mentions like transgender people a few times in her like podcast episodes or whatever, and then she goes and takes hormones so that she can change her body so that she can be closer to Homelander. Hey, it's just like, it's okay, hypocrisy, when you need it, man. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I know she mentioned it can enlarge her heart, so I'm wondering, is that like
that felt like such a throwaway line to me, but you're right, that could be something.
It did. It's like, I could breastfeed, but it enlarges my heart a little bit. Like, is that a hint what's going to happen to her down the road?
Yeah, I didn't even think of that, but that could be.
Maybe something like, maybe Starlight goes off on her again and she like dies of an enlarged heart or something, and Starlight's like, oh my God. I don't know, just something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
But yeah, no, her character's good. I think both the new characters are great. And of course with Firecracker, they have to make her all like, seem all attractive so she could convince people, and And that's definitely like part of her character.
Yeah, for sure.
They're putting her in like freaking booty shorts and wilding people up. Because she could have been one-dimensional too, like you mentioned.
Yep.
Kind of just like, there for the looks and just for the the wild, like, or what's the word I'm looking for? Getting people all wild
riling.
up.
Yeah, riling them up.
Riling.
Motivating her audience.
How do you spell riling?
I think it's
W-R?
R-I-L-I.
Oh,
I think it's just
W
R.
in riling.
Yeah, R-I-L-I-N-G.
I don't hear people use that word a lot. Riling up. I don't know if I've ever seen that word spelled. Sorry, I'm off track.
Oh, you're good. There's one person we haven't talked that much about, and I think it would be a good place to talk about the end of episode 6. Butcher, yes. How do you feel about Butcher's journey in this season so far?
I like it. I think this season is kind of what summarizes Butcher. He's a good person, but like you said, he'll go over the line and he'll convince himself, as we saw in last episode, to just do it and make. So I think while he's a great person, I think he's unhinged and he'll do what he's going to do, whether he wants to or not. Yeah,
I agree. It's been interesting because you got like 2 things going on for most of it, and now 3. You have he took the temp V and it's killing him. He has like a tumor in his head. And also, Ryan's with Homelander, so he's trying desperately to get him away from Homelander before he dies, which I think is a really good motivation for like how he's acting. And then he reunites with Joe Kessler from his war days, and he kind of helps him out in trying to get Ryan back with some of the schemes. And he's a little bit more brutal than Butcher is, like. Which is saying a lot. Like, this guy's like, I will absolutely do what needs to be done.
Hey, it's like, you're going soft, Butcher.
Yep.
Butcher going soft? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, in episode 6, like you say, I loved the reveal that person is actually dead and he's just a figment of Butcher's imagination. I didn't see that coming because we saw Becca, right? So we know he's hallucinating. So I feel like I should have, but I did not see it coming. And I thought it was a really cool reveal.
It sucks because I had thought nothing of it, but for some reason I had watched a review of the episode 5, and I was reading the comments, and there was someone in the comments that said, "So he's his imagination, right?" And ever since I read that, I'm like, I was thinking about it. Well, like before I read that comment, I was like you. I did not think a single thing about that. I would have easily been tricked too.
Yeah.
But that freaking comment ruined it for me, so don't read comments.
Yeah, I try to stay away from that if I haven't seen the episode. Yeah.
And this was for like episode 5, so even before episode 6 came out. Like, really they were just speculating, like, just some comment, like, so he's in his head, right, guys? I'm like, wait, what? Like, and then I was thinking about all the scenes that kind of showed in this next episode.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, maybe he is, because he's never talking to anybody else.
Yeah.
So I got it ruined just because
that sucks.
It got planted in my head that could be a possibility, so I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
But I would have been convinced.
Actor who plays that guy.
Oh, Jeffrey Dean Morgan? Oh, I love him too.
Yep. It felt like a supernatural episode at some points.
Bring back Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
What happened to Soldier Boy? I don't remember. Do you remember?
He explodes, right? He tries to take out Homelander or something, and he explodes. Yeah. So it's assumed he's dead, but I mean, he's super strong, and he probably could come back.
Bring back Soldier Boy. I love Soldier Boy, man.
Yeah, I love Soldier Boy too.
And speaking of Supernatural, I actually read the actor for Sam is going to be in the next season.
Oh, yeah, I think I did read that too.
He wanted like a role, so they're going to write a role for him. Like, oh my God, you have Robert Singer. Bobby.
Yep, Bobby.
You have Jeffrey Dean Morgan, or maybe possibly.
The dad.
And then you have Dean with Soldier Boy, and you can have Sam. Oh, you got to get them in the scene together, man. I don't care how you do it.
I don't know how they would get Jeffrey Dean Morgan in a scene with them if he's only in Butcher's imagination now, because it was said that the character died.
Maybe Butcher is just in the scene with them, and you could see him because Butcher's
he's just
there.
Talking. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just saying some stupid stuff, but I don't know, man, but you got to do it. That would make
funny.
Make a 10 out of 10 episode.
No matter what else happened in that episode, it'd be 10 out of 10 for you.
10 out of 10, just to see all of them in the same room again.
That's funny.
In a show.
Yeah.
So overall, though, I know we're only up, I think we still have, 2 or 3 more episodes.
Let me look to see how many episodes.
I think maybe it's only 2. I think that, 8 episodes each season? I don't know.
Yeah, it's either 8 or 10. Yeah, 8. There's 2 more.
So how do you feel? So we kind of said the positives, and we kind of said the negatives with Frenchie and stuff. So the one other, and this is me just like as an overall, not just this season. One negative I have is as much as I've enjoyed the season, it still feels like a setback from season 3. Like season 3 felt so grand, right? Like they're taking Compound V and they're superheroes. This is going to end. Like Homelander, like annihilated someone in public. Like he's going to start taking over and it's going to start being addicted. Like it felt like it was finally like, oh, it's happening. And then like this season, it kind of like steamed down a little bit. Like,
yeah, I agree with that. Season 3 was really good, especially even with like the Nazi lady stuff. That was season 3, right? Or was that season 2?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that was season 3 because with Soldier Boy and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Although if they do the like Homelander takeover this season, I feel like that might get back up to that level because that'll be absolute chaos.
Yeah, maybe that'll be like the finale because I know they did say that season 5 is going to be the last season.
Yeah, that's true. So it could be them as
which
a resistance against that takeover. Yeah, I think that's a good place to end it. Don't go on too long. Yeah.
Yeah, I think most shows, 5 or 6 seasons is enough.
Yeah, don't be like Supernatural and just keep going.
Yeah. Seriously. Although that got a little better back towards the end of the show. The middle seasons were a little rough, though.
Yeah.
Did you ever finish that show?
No, I stopped at season 4 or 5 or something.
I mean, season 1 through 5 is the original arc. They only planned 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Season 6 through 10 were but 10 through 15 were pretty good.
Jeez, there's 15. Oh my, there's more than I thought.
Dude, you gotta finish it though. I mean, you know Supernatural, so much lore and fan service.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're getting sidetracked. But yeah, I think they end the season on. I don't know. They have to end the season on the next season has to be different. It can't be the same back and forth. Like season 5 needs to be like maybe Homelander is finally like in control. Like screw you guys. I'm better than you guys.
Newman's gonna get Singer out. Homelander's gonna go off the deep end and like take over everything, and then it's gonna be some kind of like new dystopia,
like Nazi type.
Yeah. And then there's gonna be
all the humans and.
Yep. And instead of the boys working for the CIA, now they're back to being the resistance again against this overarching power. Yeah.
I just feel like, again, I really am enjoying the season, but I feel like having 3 seasons, and let alone a final season next season, of the same back and forth, like we just need to kill Homelander, and it hasn't happened yet in the same plot.
Yeah.
They have to change it up the final season.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But that being said, like, if you can set up these last couple episodes for that, this season, I'll still have enjoyed a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So, it will be a success.
Like I said, I'm pleasantly surprised how much I'm enjoying the season. Just because, I mean, I was excited to watch it, but I don't know. I wouldn't even say it was burnout, but like I said, desensitized. And I feel like it's been the same. We need to kill Homelander. Like the overall, like.
I will say some of the stuff in episode 6, I was like, when they were doing like the torture of Huey, I was like, okay, I'm kind of ready for this to be done. Like it went on for a while.
We've seen this stuff. Like you can only get so crazy. Like, and I'm fine with the craziness, but like you said, like we've seen that stuff before.
Yeah.
Like, so like, that's why I think it's good it's ending in season 5. And I do hope they change it up next season.
Yeah.
I just don't know if we could have a whole nother, let alone a final season where they're all like, okay, Homelander's going to be here at this time. We're going to go here. And Homelander's kind of on the brink of being unhinged, but like he's not quite there yet. Like we can't have a whole nother season of that. Like
for the 5th time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hope it's not just like the series finale. He finally goes crazy and like, that's it. It better be like a whole season.
Yeah. I want that for sure. And it seems like what they're building up to. That's what it does. That's what it seems like to me.
It does, and I know some people are. I've read some people are like, not complaining about Homelander, but like kind of like what I'm saying. It's kind of been going on too long. But like, they got to realize like this show. Let's be real. Without Homelander, this show would be an average show.
Yeah, Homelander elevates the show for sure.
Homelander and Butcher, without those two, like, I think the show goes from a great show to just a good show. Like, Homelander is the show.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Anyways,
he's the whole driving force behind the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Without Homelander, yeah, you would have all these other villains, but are they as compelling as Homelander? There's no. You don't get all those intense scenes and the unhinged chaos and
sense of like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. Seriously. Like Homelander, that dude, every time he's on scene, I'm just like, I feel scared and I'm just watching on TV like, God, what is he going to do?
Yeah.
Like, so good. Oh. But yeah, we'll review it weekly now since we're back on track. So it'll be a little easier to dig into a single episode. I agree.
Watching all these and I'm like putting together my notes, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a lot of work. And we had so many in the backlog.
Yeah. Well,
but we got through it. We'll be back on weekly.
Yes, it's a lot easier that way. So
let's talk about the Acolyte episodes 1 through 6. So we'll give our scores and then talk about our overall thoughts on the season so far. And then we'll give a spoiler warning and go more in depth into spoilers about, the story, how we're feeling about it. If some of the stuff online is justified or not. But Alex, I'll go ahead and let you give your scores first for episodes 1 through 6, and then I'll give mine.
Okay. The Acolyte. Yeah, there's a lot to this in there.
Yep.
So, I will be honest. The first couple episodes, I was not bagging this show. Like, episode 1, for example, I would have probably given, I thought it was average. Like, I probably would have given it 5 out of 10. Like, on our scale, a 5 is an average.
Yep.
I know a lot of people are bagging it and stuff, but I actually relatively enjoyed the first episode for what it was. Like, I didn't have any issues like people had. Episode 2, same thing. I probably liked it a little less. I would have given it like a 4 out of 10. I didn't think it was like trash or terrible or anything. Like a little less enjoyable in the first episode. But again, I wasn't bagging it. And then episode 3 happened. And this was, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to be all like a follower like the crowd, but the worst Star Wars thing I've ever seen in my life. The acting, awful. And I know it's kid actors.
Yeah.
I know, but my God, was it awful. Like, the acting of all of them, awful. But the biggest thing, it was so boring. Oh my God. I literally, I'm not going to lie, there's a couple minutes where I fast forwarded because I was that bored. I never do that.
Dang. That's pretty bad.
I hated this episode. I thought the acting was terrible. I thought it was cheesy as hell. Don't even get me started with that. Some CW, worse than CW crap. But that chant those witches did, my God, I was laughing.
That was so out of place. I'm just going to jump in here to agree with you because that stood out. Like, what was that? Like, they were having just a normal scene, and then the back was just like, like what?
Dude, it was awful. It was awful.
It was so weird.
They did a cardinal sin about that pretty much frapped on Anakin's legacy, which I am outraged with that, like a lot of people are. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So episode 3, literally 0 out of 10. I swear to God, like I'm not exaggerating. There's not one thing I liked about that episode. Not one.
I didn't even know it went. Our scale went to 0.
It's like 0 means like I felt nothing. Like, I would have rather it just been bad. Like, no, it was a 0. So, like, again, first 2 episodes, 4 or 5 average. Third one, garbage. Fourth one was a little better. I mean, it can only go up from there, right?
Right. Hopefully we don't go into the negatives. The scale's going to get really weird then.
Fourth one was okay. I mean, I still didn't really enjoy it. I would have given it, I don't know, 3 out of 10. Still below average.
Okay.
Episode 5, I mean, obviously the best episode of the series. I mean,
Yep.
just on action alone and effects and everything. And I actually don't mind the villain, Smiley Ren, they're calling him.
Yeah, I heard that.
I would actually probably like. I thought like I'm going to be fair, right? I bag on the show, but this one I would give like a 7 out of 10. I think this is the best kind of action we've seen in all of Disney Star Wars.
Yep.
The lightsaber fights were awesome, well choreographed. They actually did things that shocked me a little bit, even though I didn't care about anything. It still shocked me a little bit. And the villain,
yeah, definitely.
I saw some people complain about the villain. I actually like him. I thought he's fine to me. I think he's an interesting character.
I think we'll get into this in the spoilers, but I think there's one specific reason that I can think of that people wouldn't like the bad guy. But we'll talk about it in the spoilers.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm being fair. Like this one was, I enjoyed this episode. 7 out of 10. It was quickly paced, ton of action, great lightsaber fights, great episode. And then you have episode 6. It goes back to trash. Okay. So, I thought episode 6 was, while not as bad as episode 3. I mean, I would give this one a 2 or 3 out of 10. I don't like some things that happen, which we'll talk about in the spoilers. I thought the episode was actually kind of pointless. And Soul is actually my favorite character in the show. And it's a shame because I feel like if he was in anything other than the show, he'd be a fan favorite Jedi.
I agree.
But like he's in the show. So
I agree.
Like he is my favorite character by far. I love Soul. Like put him in something else that's not the show. And so, yeah, I think overall the first 6 episodes, I mean, I would give a 3 or 4 out of 10. I was trying to get the benefit of the doubt. I heard all the outrage. Some of it justified, some of it not. But I tried. And one good episode out of 6. There'll probably be one more good episode in the last few because it'll be all lightsaber battles, and that will probably be it.
Hopefully.
I don't just go back to the lightsaber fights.
Yeah.
But yeah, characters are not good. The twins, they have like one emotion for like surprised, happy, shocked. It's like the same face. And the younger twins even worse. Like I said, the only good character is Soul, and I don't mind the actor who plays the bad guy, Smiley Ren. I'll say that. Yeah. But yeah, that's those are my ratings. It's a show.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll go through my scores and then give my overall issues with it. So, episode 1, I was interested. Definitely like a new era. We haven't really seen that much. At least I haven't read the books, so I haven't really seen much High Republic. I didn't know too much about the show going in, so when I saw the High Republic stuff, I was like, okay, I'm kind of excited for that. And then Soul came in. I liked his character. Some of the other characters, like Jekki's okay. Yord's kind of an idiot, whatever. But from episode 1, there were some things that stood out to me in the writing that I was like, that's just not good writing. It was very cliche. Like they do the twin thing where it's like, I just know at one point they're going to point at each other and someone's going to have to decide which twin is good. That kind of writing, you know? It's like, oh, this looks bad. And then in episode 1, I gave a 6. I thought it was about average, maybe a little better. I think the High Republic stuff kind of elevated it in my mind. Like, oh, I'm excited about that. I want to see more of that. Episode 2, I gave a 5. I think it was a little worse. I think we have the same like trend. I'm just a little bit higher than you.
a little nicer.
But there was something that happened in episode 2 where I was like, okay, I'm worried about the writing of the show. There's the part where they're going to. Well, I guess I won't go into spoilers, but there's like there were warning signs for episode 3. I will say that. And then episode 3 happened. Yes, and episode 3. I did not like. I gave it a 2. So the reason I didn't give it a 1, because I didn't even know we could go to 0, was there were some things where like the mom of the twins was talking about like the Force and how their society viewed the Force. And I thought that was an interesting perspective. Like, we haven't really seen anybody other than the Jedi or the Sith really talking about... I mean, I guess we saw the Bindu, which is kind of different too. And the Night Sisters may use some of the Force. Rogue but, One. You know... Yeah, true. But I like seeing those different perspectives. And especially, like, back in the High Republic era, some of these other religions and the, like... the like push and pull between them and the Jedi. I thought that was an interesting idea. Now, it was implemented kind of boringly, which is bad. And yeah, there were just some goofy stuff in this. There were some things that didn't make any sense. There were some things that were just out of left field. Bad acting. I was not into this episode for sure.
Yeah.
Episode 4, I gave a 5, probably just because it was much better than the previous episode.
Yeah.
But all these episodes, my notes for it is, it was too short. It was too short. It was too short.
Yeah.
Like, they just need more time to put in, more time and better writing.
Would time fix this, though?
Yeah, I don't know. That's true. I just want more time on episode 5.
Yeah, there you go. More time and better writing, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Disney formula is hurting these shows, although the writing in this is pretty bad. The cliffhanger on this was pretty good. Like, it set up for a really good episode in the next one. But it almost felt like it was going to a commercial break and not ending because it just was over so fast.
Uh-huh.
And then episode 5...
that's true. It was kind of jarring.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I was like, that's it? But yeah, episode 5, definitely the best episode of the show. Great action. Yeah. Not too many acting issues, probably because there wasn't that much acting. It was more action. And because it was pretty Soul heavy with, and Soul is absolutely the best character. And yeah, there were definitely some surprises in this episode that caught me off guard, which with how the writing was going, I didn't think they were going to do, but they did.
Same, yeah.
So I'll give them props for that. And then episode 6, I gave...
What would you rate episode 5?
I gave it an 8. Sorry, thank you.
An 8, okay.
Yeah. I mean, not the best Star Wars, but it did have some of the best action we've seen, so I'll give it up. That's good. It's always good to see in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And then episode 6, I gave a 4. Again, another short episode. It feels like setup. But yeah, nothing really happened too much, except for like a few things, and it happened without really much reason. And I don't know. I don't think the payoff was earned in this one. So
no.
Yeah, overall, not my favorite show, but it does have a high.
Yeah, a high. Exactly.
It has the Loki syndrome, Loki season 2 syndrome.
Loki. My God, I never thought I would man, this makes Loki look like an Oscar-worthy TV. Man,
I don't know if I'd go that far, but
I think the show is off. Just the acting, the writing. I mean, we can get into spoilers so we can talk about it.
Yeah, let's go into spoilers. So, spoiler alert for the Acolyte, episodes 1 through 6.
Not that you care. I mean, you could, you don't. People might not even care about spoilers in this show.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Some people like to just watch people bash Star Wars on YouTube. Star Wars more on YouTube than actually watch Star Wars.
I believe it.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But so, as much as I loved episode 5, and the shocks of it, of Yor and all them dying, I didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I honestly felt bad for Soul, just because he's the only character I like, and he lost his Padawan and all the people in his, the people he was responsible for. I was like, dang, that sucks. But yeah, them dying, it was like, yeah, whatever.
Shouldn't have more of an impact. If this was a well-written show like Andor, that would have been oh my God.
Yes.
It still shocked me, but I don't care about those characters.
Yeah, literally when I'm watching the show, I'm thinking of Andor and if we could just have writing like that to make this more interesting and impactful. Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a rogue Sith, if you want to call him that, murdering all this Jedi. And this looks like a freaking cheaper version of the 100. And I like the 100, but a worse, badly written, worse 100. A CW, little teeny boppy. You have all these Jedis and stuff, these masters. They look like kids.
Yeah,
and I know I'm being nitpicky, but no one.
I think there's
besides
bigger
Soul,
issues, but yeah,
Yeah, there's bigger issues, but now like I'm so mad at the show, I'm just finding every little fault in it.
Yeah. Okay, wait.
Because
let
I love
me
the
say something
concept.
positive. Did you know
Please.
that the actor for Soul, I read, learned English for this role because he liked Qui-Gon Jinn that much that he was like excited to be this Qui-Gon Jinn like figure? That's so awesome.
Dude, that is awesome because
love that actor.
I was talking to my dad about the show, and I literally like explained to him like think of Soul like a Qui-Gon Jinn. Like I literally said that to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's awesome about the
like
actor.
The basis of his portrayal. Yep.
I love cool. Soul is he's a great character, and he is like a Qui-Gon Jinn because he'll go against the council to do what's right. He's such a he's the only.
He's like the bright shining star in this sea of garbage.
Seriously, no, literally, dude. Like, if there's no Soul, my lord, like, the one nitpick I have in episode 5, well, besides the not caring, is that scene where she cut her hair with the lightsaber. Come on, tell me that didn't look cheesy.
Oh, that was so awesome, dude. Are you kidding? Like,
and the way she like did it, and she stood up, like it was all dramatic.
It was so dramatic. I was like, the only way they could make it more cheesy is if they did like that crappy slow motion where they just half the frame rate and it's all choppy.
Gosh, it was so bad. And then, of course, towards the end, they do the stupid twin thing, like hence why she cut her hair.
Yep.
And then, honestly, and you know what I didn't understand? And help me with this. Maybe I'm just dumb. That little creature that was sniffing her.
Yeah.
The little creature. What's his name? Little Basil. I thought the whole point of episode 5 was he was going to be the one to like warn Soul or something, and he was just like he didn't even do anything. What was the point of him following her on there?
Yeah,
Soul just outsmarted him or her and like figured it out.
I think the problem is that Yord was the only one that could communicate with him. Like, I don't think Soul speaks the language that Basil does. Yord was the translator. But yeah, Basil could have been like waving his hands and pointing and being like X, like bad. Yeah, that.
And then like instead of just doing nothing. On top of that, Basil was like, interrogate, like punching her and whatever, like confronts her, and he runs away, and then like she's just like off on the ship fixing things. Shouldn't she be concerned about Basil getting the Soul?
Yeah, that's what I mean by like incoherent writing. That just
Like if I was on a ship that someone knew I wasn't the person
supposed to be on,
worried as hell they were going to go warn that other person.
Yep. Even if they can't speak the same language, like there's ways to be like something's wrong.
Yes, like episode. The reason I didn't care for episode was it 6? So that whole stuff with the ship with Soul, so pointless. Like it was a nothing episode.
It was like a side adventure with Basil and May. That was I did not care about that.
And then the stuff on with Smiley Wren and what's I don't even know the twin's name. May? Osha
is the one with Kamir.
The good one.
Yeah, quote unquote good one. Although, so I have that same issue with episode 6, and also I liked hearing Kamir's thoughts on the dark side, but my God, how is he already corrupting her when at the beginning of the episode, she's like, I can't be corrupted, or she says something like that. And then at the end, she's putting on his helmet and just doing that just seems way too fast. That might be an issue with the runtime, the amount of episodes. They just have to rush it, but it just feels so forced.
Not only that, there's like flirting and sexual tension. Like Homeboy just murdered all your Jedi friends.
Yep.
Like, literally just murdered all your Jedi friends in front of you. Like, snapped Yord's neck.
Did the triple tap on Jecki.
Which I love the way he used that. And I loved how he was holding the lightsaber up against, Yord's or someone's head. I don't remember who it was. Like, almost like a gun. I was like, okay, let's see. I like that. That's good. But yeah, episode 6, that whole stuff. And I agree with you. I like Smiley Wren's. What's his real name? Kamiko? No, that's the boys.
Kimir? Qimir? Yeah.
I'm just gonna call him Smiley Ren.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I don't even dislike his character. Like I find him kind of interesting.
Yeah, he's a different take on a Sith, I feel like.
And like, obviously, the main Jedi lady with the whip is a bad guy, right? Because he showed her his back, and it looked like a whip mark.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't catch that, but that makes sense.
Not obviously, but like, what I'm getting is I feel like she knows who it is.
I definitely feel like, I feel like she's doing something shady, and that makes sense.
That's her master. That was his master, I feel like. Because he said he used to be a part of Jedi with the master.
Yep, that makes sense.
And she's probably freaking out because Yord sent out this thing like, oh, all these Jedis are dead. And, you know, even her little Padawan's like, well, do you think What's-His-Face could do it? And she got all defensive, like, how dare, that's a huge accusation that Soul would do this.
Yeah.
Like, so I think she knows it's her old Padawan, and she's going to come and finish the business. And then that's how they're going to get away with, you know, the Jedi, like in the prequels, saying there's Sith haven't been seen in 1,000 or so years.
Yeah, they definitely need to explain that, because we saw Ki-Adi-Mundi, and if he's still around and like everybody knew there was a Sith, why would he specifically say we haven't seen the Sith in a millennia? So please don't make that loophole.
Yeah, please don't. And I think they're not. I don't think they are, because I think the whip lady is she you know, obviously she's going to try to hide it because she doesn't want them to know that like she whipped and banned her Jedi or whatever happened between them.
That makes sense.
So it would make sense. That's how they would do it. But I didn't care for those scenes either. They're like walking around, finding her little Padawan. I don't know. It's just
I just didn't care that much. I think that's why I didn't catch that, because I wasn't really paying that much attention at that point.
Yeah,
the whip looks cool, I guess.
Yeah, the whip looked cool for a second. We saw it, but
yeah.
I think I just caught that because I was like trying to grasp onto something. Like, cool. They're like, okay, wait. He said that. He's like, I was trying to get myself invested.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think my issue with episode 6 specifically, number one, all the stuff we just mentioned, but number two, I get you have to have a slow down episode after a big episode like that. But my God, does it really have to be a pointless slow down episode?
Yeah, you shouldn't. Like with this number of episodes, you should have better stuff to do in these episodes.
Yes. Like nothing happened. And like you said, she really put on Smiley Ren's helmet. Like she's really getting convinced by a little shirtless. And what's up with Star Wars and their shirtless men, man? Man, Disney likes them shirtless men.
Yeah, they're trying to get the women to go see it or to watch it.
We can't have women in bikinis, but we could have some shirtless men. That's okay. No, I don't care about that crap, but I know people do.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a theory as to why some people might not like Kimir as the villain. Have you seen The Good Place?
Yes, I have.
I feel like the people who don't like him as the villain have seen that and can only see Jason in that.
They can't differentiate yet. Oh, I can see
which
that.
I get. I had that a little bit, but like I don't know. I feel like he does a good job of kind of being a little more sinister when he's actually being the Sith Lord. But at the start, I was like, oh man, this is just Star Wars Jason. What the heck?
Which I kind of saw that too at the beginning. But like, I don't know. Like, I know people were complaining that he's kind of just like some angry teenager looking dude. Like he's just mad because the Jedi won't let him do what he wants to do. But like, I don't know. I find that kind of unhinged and creepy that like he wants to be able to do what he wants to do and the Jedi are stopping him.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like why does it have to be? I mean, it might get even deeper too if if it turns out the whip lady was his master and stuff, but that would have even deeper reasons why. Mm-hmm. Actually, that probably is the real reason. Now I'm thinking about it. If that does come true, he's just using the other as like a facade. Like,
true, that could be.
But I don't. I've maybe it's because all the other characters are so trash except for Soul that like he was semi interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
And he fought, like, the fighting was, like I said, in episode 5. The only criticism I have... Cool. It's not even criticism. It's just, like, maybe... This is super nitpicky. But how come the Padawan was fighting better than all these Jedi Masters?
Yeah, I didn't get that, but I mean, maybe she's just really good at fighting. I don't know. But
I mean, her fight, like, it was an awesome scene.
Yeah, it was cool scene.
I don't know. She's just like, how does she fight better?
The other non-Padawan guys just get rolled, and then she has a full-on fight scene.
Sure, she even fights better in Soul, kind of. Like,
yeah.
Like the fight with Soul was more. It was more a classic Star Wars, talking.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think Soul was trying to figure out what was going on instead of just trying to win. And like who he is.
Will say, the one thing I'm glad they did is I was so worried they're going to make Soul look like an idiot in Episode 6 and not know they switched, because a Jedi should be able to sense this crap.
Yeah, I feel like he should have known earlier, but I guess he is in distress after all that happened.
Because he didn't know. He even said, and they even went to show that he's mad that he didn't sense Smiley Ren when they were talking to him in that other earlier episodes.
True.
So at least they addressed that.
Yeah.
But the other thing.
Go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say? I
was going to say in episode 5, one interesting thing that I think was in the Thrawn books, I'm going to read the new ones soon, so I'll confirm that later, but is the addition of, I think it's cortosis, that...
is that the helmet thing?
Yeah, and it like short circuits lightsabers when it's hit for a short period of time, which is definitely interesting, and I wonder what happened to that, because like, seems like it's a High Republic thing, but we don't really see that in the new stuff. So it must have gotten lost to time somehow, or I don't know.
Well, it looks like... Did it look like he was getting that from like that cave they were in? Like there was a moment where Osha like was looking at the helmet or looking at it and fix it, and then looked off to the distance and saw like some sort of like metal or something in the wall.
Oh
like
yeah,
black, like stone
that could
or something.
Be it. That's true.
But I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I just read that wrong.
Yeah, maybe you're giving him too much credit, but maybe not.
I just don't understand. You're right. I mean, that's a very powerful tool that could be used against a Jedi.
Yeah, I know.
Like why not make a full armor set of that?
Yep.
Or even do something where it's like.
Or even just like use a lightsaber in one hand and a sword made of that in the other, and just like block the lightsaber with the sword. Their lightsaber shorts out and stab them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Are they gonna retcon it, and it's gonna be like it's gonna be
Beskar
like
is now,
like Beskar, where it's like super rare.
Yeah, maybe they could do that.
But I mean, it's a cool device. Like it's cool, like. Metal or whatever it is. I agree with you. It's like, it's like where is it?
Yeah,
like if
maybe
I was
the Thrawn
Jedi,
book will explain it better, because I think I read that it's mentioned in there. So
yeah, I know it's canon in like books.
Yeah,
but it's like if I wasn't a Jedi or I hated Jedi, that's all I'd be looking for. So it must be that rare, maybe, like we said. But,
yeah. Okay,
so
I want to talk about
4 and 5, or 5 and 6. But what else?
I want to talk about what my biggest red flag was of like, oh, this writing is very suspect before episode 3. So in episode 2, they know that May is killing the Jedi that are on that planet, so they go visit the one who's meditating. And while they're heading there, they're like walking through the temple in a group, and then May just splits off, follows this force projection, whatever it is. And first of all, why would you split off? But I'm like, oh, she split off. She's going to find something bad and going to be blamed for it. So she goes, finds the Jedi dead because May killed him. I'm like, oh, don't do this. And then they walk in, start blaming her. And I'm like, oh, no, they're doing this. And then Yord comes in and is like, oh, I followed her. She's fine. And then I'm like, what was the point of that then? Why couldn't they just have her walk to the scene? Yeah. And like, how did she get there first? You're telling me the first group following the people who know the place got to there after she did? Like, it just makes no sense. Like, they would know the fastest way to get there. I don't know. It was like, I agree. I did not understand that at all.
Like, you're right. What was the point of that? If that was it to try to get Yor to trust her more, but he still never even did anyways. So
I don't know. I don't know. I was like,
I was worried they were going to do that too, though. I'm like, oh God, here we go. They're going to blame her, and it's going to be a whole thing. And then Yor just pops up. Nope, I was following her. She's fine, guys.
Because at first I was like, oh good, they're not doing that. And then I thought about it. And I'm like, but then what was the point? why? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So, like, did you
that
see
was
the
where I was like, go ahead.
Speaking of which, like, I saw the twist a mile away with that guy being Smiley Ren.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially in episode, was it 4, before the lightsaber battle, where he was like, he would randomly go off, or I'm going to go here, or I'm tied up on the tree, and like things would happen when he wasn't around. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I guessed it was him in episode 4. Yeah.
Yeah, it was maybe not episode 3. I was starting to get like, what is the point of this guy? But episode 4, they're talking about, I've never seen
I think
your
in
master
episode
either.
3, that was the flashback. So, yeah. But
I think episode 2.
Yeah, no. Episode 2. I wasn't totally sure there. Yeah, but yeah, right. Episode 4
I try to block episode 3 out of my mind.
Yeah.
But episode 1, in all honesty though, like I know I've been bashing it. Episode 1, it was just like I said, 5. Like it was average. Like I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was like, okay.
There were good parts and suspect parts. Like it was cool seeing Trinity fight as a Jedi. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a cool fight scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Soul was great.
Soul was great. What happened to Yord's Padawan?
I don't know. Does he just get left back at Coruscant? I don't know.
Like he was in episode 1, and then like Yord's Padawan's never seen again.
I feel like it's like they just forgot. They're like, oh yeah, he did have a Padawan.
Like, oh yeah. So episode 1, I was like, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of. Well, I don't even. What else happened in episode 1 besides that fight? I don't even remember actually. I just remember liking
Osha's
that
fight. Osha's on that. Like
the ship?
She's the ship, and then Yord comes and finds her because they think she killed her.
Right. That's right.
Soul believes that it's not her, and they go try to figure out who's actually doing it.
That's okay. And then at the very end,
and that's all I remember.
Ren.
Yeah. Which when I heard his voice in that episode, I'm like, ooh, that sounds like an interesting character. Like he sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
In his helmet.
I agree. And then episode 2, like you said, I think it was a little worse. They had that whole scene of that Jedi that hasn't spoken forever, and
yep. One more thing about episode 3 that really brought it down is like, I don't know. It feels like they tried to set up this mystery box, and it just doesn't work because it makes no sense. You're telling me that May dropped a torch and set a little fire and it blew up the entire temple? There's no way. Like I don't know.
I think maybe it was Soul. Maybe that's what Smiley Ren's referring to.
Yeah, I think maybe the Jedi came and were talking, and there was a fight that started, and they had to like fight, and like I don't know, an explosion happened. Like something else happened, but it's pretty obvious, and it's just not a good. Like nobody's going to be tricked by that because it doesn't make sense. No. There's no way that fire killed everybody in there. Yeah. And it's stupid that characters in the show believe that. Even if she was a child. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. It's like, come on now. And the other thing I was mentioning about episode 3 is when he asked who the father was, like, and they said they have no father. Like, it's like, really? I thought that was supposed to be like a special thing with Anakin. Like, that kind of like diminishes the whole thing with Anakin.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
So there was one person that I haven't gone back and looked because I just can't bring myself to watch that again. But that said there were like 2 shadowy figures in the background watching that whole ceremony, and they were theorizing that that's how Plagueis eventually learns how to do it, because I think Plagueis is the one who does that and creates Anakin. So, like, that's how he, like, learns the power and it gets passed down. But, like, that might be kind of interesting, but I also agree that it diminishes that uniqueness of the prophecy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I guess there has to be a way that Plagueis could learn that, but for me, it was more mystical, which I guess you could argue the witches are. Yeah. It was just more, like, maybe more, like, biblical, I guess I should say. Like, more, like...
I think it's been leaning to the fact that either Plagueis or Sidious set it up more and more as it goes on, but I see what you're saying. It does kind of feel like that when it first happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like just the will of the Force created it or something. Yeah.
Because I've read theories that maybe Smiley Ren's new master, or what, I don't know, was something with Plagueis. Because he obviously Plagueis has to have some sort of play. And this is, how long ago was this before? Like 1,000 years, or how long, or is it even that far?
I think it's 100.
It's just 100 years. I think you're right. I was going to say 100 first, but then I had to second guess because that's really not that far from the prequels.
Yeah.
So then Plagueis has to be around then.
Yeah, he was born between 147 and 120 BBY, so that would line up. He'd be about like 20 to 40 around there.
So then, do you think that's how they're going to get? That's how they're going to do it, right? They're going to show Plagueis, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh my god, this show's amazing!" They're going to drop Plagueis for 5 minutes, and
yeah.
I don't know. Episode 3 is just the other thing too with there's one other thing with episode 3. God, this is why. See, I gave it a 0 because it gave me nothing. I felt emptiness with that episode. Doesn't even deserve a grade. There's one other thing too, and I can't even freaking remember. It's not important.
It's definitely not important, but yeah. Let me see if I have anything. Let's see. Just them starting singing. It was like, is this a musical now? That was weird. And then they were just like, there was some screaming in the background while they were talking. I don't know.
Oh, that episode was so awful, man. Oh, I would rather rewatch all of Loki season 2 than watch that episode.
Yeah.
Oh, anyways, that's honestly, there's not much else I got on the show.
I'm feeling the same way. Yeah, I think we're good.
It's just, yeah. I feel like the next episode. So
I feel like all Disney shows now are like, okay, we're gonna save all the budget for one really good episode and then just like string them along for the rest of the episodes. It's like becoming a theme, except for Andor. Andor was really good all the way through.
Yeah, that's like that's like a little black sheep of the family.
Yeah, it's the exception,
Disney
not
Plus
the rule.
Shows are trash. Let's be real. We've seen enough of them. Look, and I'm not even saying I didn't enjoy some. Like I enjoyed WandaVision and stuff, but like in all reality,
Mandalorian was good, but
Mandalorian season 1 and 2 are
it's more and more becoming like generally they're bad. And you sometimes get a good one.
They almost don't feel like shows because like you don't have enough time to care.
Yeah. It feels like they made a movie and then cut it up, and sometimes in weird ways.
Yeah, it's not like, when you watch like Stranger Things, like I'm like invested, man. Like those characters and the plot, everything about it, like it feels like weighty. And you watch these kind of like any Disney Plus show, and like it just feels so empty. You don't care. It's just like 6 episodes, like 30 minutes long, 28 minutes long.
Yeah, it's bad.
A few exceptions, but the majority. Marvel, all of them.
Yep.
I even enjoyed the Percy show that we reviewed, but even that, like, it just
the same issues.
It doesn't feel like a real show. Like, I don't know. I can't explain Disney Plus shows. And then you watch like House of the Dragon, which we'll talk about next, and it's like a whole nother freaking level. Like, well, that's a good segue. Let's talk about House of the Dragon. Let's make me happy.
Yes, I agree. Let's talk about House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episodes 1, 2, and 3. So we'll give our scores again for these, and then talk about our overall thoughts, and then get into spoilers. So is it my turn on this one?
Yes, it is.
Okay. This is going to be pretty easy, and these may be a little inflated because I've been watching them like along with the Acolyte, and it's just such a better show. But I gave all 3 episodes a 9. I've been loving it. I'm glad it's back. It's been really good. There's been surprises. There's been like overhaul of how I thought things would go. It's been a lot of fun watching, and I'm just excited for the rest of the season. I love this show, and I'm so glad it's back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I gave episode 1 and 2 a 9, and episode 3 an 8.
Okay.
Still loved it, but episode 1 and 2 just for me had a little more intensity.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I agree with you. The writing, I mean, like you said, maybe
Oh
it's
man, the
'cause we're
writing is
watching
day and
Acolyte,
night. Oh my
but
god. Yeah.
it's like half the scenes, there's like no music. It's just pure dialogue, pure
Yep.
talking and acting and intensity, like with no music. Like it's like the first two episodes, it just there's the certain scenes which you obviously probably know what I'm talking about. It's just so
Mhm.
intense, man. Like the
Oh
writing, the
yeah.
suspense, the acting, the special effects, everything
Yep.
about the show. And like you said, I don't know if it's because we're watching Acolyte, but I don't think it is. I think it's actually like a well freaking written show. Like
Yeah, I agree.
I
Yeah.
I've it's the first, so it took me a few like 30 or so minutes in the first episode to get back in the rhythm, because Game of Thrones is kind
Mhm.
of show where you have to kind of get
It's
in the rhythm of it.
Yep, you got to remember
Yeah,
everything that's happened, who
yeah,
everybody is. Yeah, I feel that
yeah.
too.
But like after I started getting back into like the rhythm of the show, like dude, like I can't say anything else till spoilers. But yeah, 9, a 9, and an 8 out of
Yep.
10 for me.
999 for me. All right. Well, let's get into spoilers because there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot of names. So I don't know if I'll be
Yes.
able in this one to keep track of what
I was going to
names
say, I need to
are
depend
which.
on. I was going to tell you, I'm bad with names, and so I'm horrible
Hey.
with this show.
Yeah, this show's tough for even me, and I'm pretty good with names. So yeah, we'll see how I do. I'll probably be Googling some things. So yeah, if I stop talking, I'm probably looking up a name. All right, yeah, so spoiler alerts for episodes 1 through 3 of season 2. Okay. So episode 1. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what happened in episode 1 because there's so much that has happened since then.
Yeah, it was kind of it kind of had Rhaenyra, I don't know, the queen,
Yep.
going off and kind of mourning her son, trying to
Oh,
look
yeah, that's
for
right. She
trying to look
finds.
for the body and stuff.
Yep. I will say, I think the best acting performances of the season so far have been by Rhaenyra. She's a really good actor, I feel like.
I agree. He's the queen, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. She's been excellent.
Yeah.
You could see the
Just in
despair
her
in her eyes. Like,
yeah. Yeah, she does a really,
sad.
really good job. Yep.
And like, I don't know. Like, I have kids, and I'm just saying, like, even if you don't have kids, obviously, but like, I have kids, so like, even seeing like the end of the first episode, I'm like, my God, that is brutal.
Yeah, that was so brutal. And making her choose.
I know, like, God, and can you like that poor little boy? He's just a little boy.
Yeah.
Like, God, like that whole last like 15 minutes was so intense. Like them sneaking into the castle, and that's kind of why I think episode 1 and 2 are elevated for me, is because like episode 3 didn't have like that scene like episode 1 and 2 had.
Yeah, it had an intense like character-driven scene between Rhaenyra.
Which is a great scene.
But it is different for sure. It is a great scene, but yeah, it's not as like action or like jaw-dropping.
Atmospheric kind of like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like when they were kind of invading that castle, like the music, it just had like intense like
yeah,
and it was raining out, and the atmosphere and the intensity, and they're that was
not quite
so
sure
good.
what's going to happen. Yeah, I was pretty sure because so they were sent to kill
Eye Patch brother,
Eye Patch guy. Yeah,
the one who killed Rhaenyra's son in the finale of last season. Yeah,
Aemond. I was like, it's not Damon. Damon is the one who sent him. It's Aemond. So you just switch around a few letters.
Oh, okay. I'll remember that now. Aemond and Damon. Okay.
Yeah, so Damon sent them to kill Aemond, but then they couldn't find Aemond, so they found someone else with the same color hair, and there's 2 of them, and they make the mother choose which one to kill, and it's just like...
It had to be a boy.
Yep, man, that's just... I can't imagine having to choose that. That's horrible.
God, I was just thinking, like, God, this little boy, could you imagine just waking up and like that, and then boom.
Yeah.
God, that was intense, man.
And I can imagine you having a little boy like that. That probably impacted you even more.
I like, because you put yourself in that situation, like when you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking, and it's like,
Yep.
God.
Yep.
But yeah. So Amond is the
Amen.
guy,
Yep.
is the son of the other girl. Who's the king's mother? What's her name? The redhead?
Alicent.
Alicent. Okay. So
Yep.
that's Alicent's kid, along with the king is
Mm-hmm.
Alicent's kid. I actually think that the kid who plays the king has been doing a good job too.
Yeah. One scene with him and Laris just kind of, I think, totally shows how much better of writing the show has than like Acolyte. So at one point in episode 3, the king has decided he's going to war. He's going to fly out and meet with these armies. And like everybody on his council was like, you shouldn't do that. That's too dangerous. We need you here. And no one can get through to him. And then later on in the episode, Laris walks up to him, totally like unassuming, and just says like one thing. And he's like, oh, they're saying that I forget exactly what he said. What did he say? They're saying you're like running away or something. And like, he just knows exactly the right string to pull.
Your mother's planned, so Aemon could become king while you're gone and die. Pretty much. Yep. Yeah.
He just knows what to hit and to get exactly what he wants. And like, you can just see everybody else is totally inept at that compared to this guy. And I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. He's
I like him
whisperer for the king.
Yeah, Master of Whispers.
Now he said he wanted him to be the Master of Whispers for him. Yeah.
Yep. Basically Littlefinger's position.
And yeah.
What's
that?
And the other guy from the fat
Viserys
guy also Viserys. Yep.
Is that right?
I think so.
How do I remember that?
Or Varys? Maybe Varys.
Some with a V, I think.
Viserys is the dad of Rhaenyra, I think. So I think it's Varys.
They're all the same. Aemon, Daemon, blah, blah, blah. They're all like with Dr. Seuss.
Yep.
But
Rhaenyra, Rhaenys. Yeah.
So confusing.
Yeah.
Who is the one of the other performances? Actually, they're all good, but another one that stands out for me is the Hand, the guy who plays the Hand. Well, he did play the Hand.
Otto Hightower, yes.
Yes, Otto.
The Lizard. He was the lizard in Spider-Man.
That's right.
I love that actor. He's great.
He did excellent, or doing excellent.
Yeah. Yep, I'm sure he'll be back in some capacity, doing something.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like, because I thought, I mean, like you kind of mentioned, like all the actors have been like so good. Like I'm watching this and Acolyte, like you said, at the same time. And it's like, I know we keep saying it, but like this looks, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It is such
agreed.
Good writing.
And good performances. Yep.
And good performances and the scheming.
Coherent storylines. Yep. Scheming.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's funny because, like, I feel like, and you could probably agree, like, after the last season of Game of Thrones, like, I feel like I was so burnt out, like, I'm done. Like, it kind of ruined it for me. But, man, this show, it hooked me back in.
Yeah, for sure. I think going earlier and learning more about something we already knew a little bit about was a really good idea.
Yeah,
like the Targaryens.
Bring the spark of the love back for Game of Thrones, and then you could start like maybe telling future stories.
Yep.
What else happened in episode 1? So, I mean, that was the main gist of it. It was a lot of kind of fallout from the finale of season 1.
Yep.
Who would you say is your favorite character?
That's a tough one. Favorite character. I don't know. I feel like it changes episode to episode.
It is a hard question.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just because of the performance, but I really like Rhaenyra's character too. I feel like she's gotten screwed over, but she's still like a good person and tries to do what's best. And even in episode 3, like she knows she's the only one that can try and stop this war. So she sneaks into the enemy's place and like tries to, like, that's ballsy. That's doing what you think is right.
She was great in episode 3.
Yeah, she was great. Maybe that's just because that's the most recent thing. But yeah, I like her character a lot.
Yeah, I could agree with that. they're all so interesting. Like I know from season 1, like Damon was probably my most interesting character,
Yeah.
or the most interesting character to me. He hasn't been
I agree.
given much this season so far. I mean, the last episode, I guess he has.
Yeah,
What
it's
I like
setting
about-
something up with him. Yeah.
What I like about Damon, he's like a little unhinged too. Where I don't know, like, is he trying to run for the throne now too and build his own?
Yeah,
army?
it almost feels like it, and that's what he was
So
doing
then-
most of season 1. So that would make sense.
So now there's kind of like 3 of them going at it. Obviously, what's his face?
Yeah,
the king.
Yeah. I just don't
And now
know if he
Damon?
would betray Rhaenyra now or not, because I can't tell how real their like relationship
I can't
is.
either.
I don't know. Which
I can't
is
either.
interesting writing. Like, yeah, I like it.
Like, is he just telling himself he's going to take over, but then at the end of the day, he's still going to do it for her? And he's just kind of playing the part, playing house
Mhm.
till then,
Yeah.
like getting, like kind of feeling it, in the moment. Or I don't know. It is interesting.
Yeah, or he could pretend long enough to actually start to feel something for Rhaenyra, and like, yeah, there's a lot of like, that's what I like about Daemon is I feel like you don't know exactly what he's thinking or what he's going to do next.
Yeah, he could. He's definitely kind of like the, I don't know.
Wild card.
What should I reference? Yeah, like the wild card, like, I'm trying to think of another show character. I don't know if you ever watched Lost, but like the Sawyer of the show. But,
okay, I think I watched the first few seasons, yeah.
Yeah, but kind of like the bad boy, but like he's good at heart, but like you don't know which direction he can go. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. They're all kind of, it is a hard question. I think I agree with you though. Like, I think Rhaenyra, is that her name?
Yeah. Rhaenyra.
Rhaenys
is the older one who also got passed over for the,
That's right.
Then
Yeah. So Rhaenyra. Yeah, I think I agree with you. She for how much crap she's been given. I mean, let's be real. She is the good, like she is the good guy of the series. Like, at least right now, like the Jon Snow kind of, like she really did have, if I remember correctly,
she has the best claim.
She has the best claim. Like, she's not lying.
Yeah, it's interesting because in episode 3, neither of them are lying. They're both telling what they believe is the truth. Like,
that's
Alicent
true.
seriously thought she heard him say Aegon referencing her son and that he wanted him to be king. But it was just like she didn't understand what he was saying because, I mean, he was dying. He was kind of incoherent. Yeah. But if she would have just told Rhaenyra that before just doing it, then it could have been cleared up.
Yeah.
And but I thought that was really interesting where, like, there's a misunderstanding here, but neither of them are lying. That's just awesome.
That like you said, good freaking writing.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing, so with episode 2, I think what elevated that too was, I mean, again, I think the last like 15-20 minutes.
Yes,
it was really interesting seeing that. Yeah, do it.
I think I'm going to try and make this my last reference to the Acolyte versus this, but this one has pretty common
the twins
things in this. Yes. This is how you do a twin fight or a twin scene. Like, there are stakes. There are like a brutal ending. Like, you don't know what's going on. And it's not like they're like standing there and waiting for someone to be like, oh, who's the good one? Like, one wins, and then you wait for a second, and you're like, which one won? And then he kills himself so that they don't have to make the decision or figure out.
Yes.
And he is also probably feeling shame that his brother did that. And like, it's just, there's so many things going on, and there's real stakes, and it's so good.
It felt
Whereas the Acolyte, it's like the Spider-Man pointing meme. It feels like
literally. So it's true. I didn't even think about that. Actually, you're right. We're watching 2 shows that do this twin switch type thing.
Yeah.
At the same time, and you're right. Yeah, and again, I was worried. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna do it again. I was worried at this show too. Like, they're gonna do it. Yeah. They're not gonna know which one it is, and they're not gonna trust him. And then they, he does it. He kills himself. Like, I was like,
he's like, God, you don't have to worry. I'll do it. Boom. Yeah.
Oh. And that fight scene, again, was intense.
It was great. And I like how, right at the beginning, they get tangled up and we're like, okay, I don't know who to root for, but this looks awesome.
Yeah. That's and again, like it had that kind of vibe of the first episode ending, where like
Yeah.
infiltrating the castle and trying to take someone out, and
Yep.
so I just yeah I don't I think I still liked like the episode one more, but this was still like great. Like I
Yeah.
loved it, and then what happened after that? Because the episode continued after that.
That's when I think Otto gets dismissed as the Hand of the
Oh,
King.
that's right. That was a great freaking scene too. And this is what I'm talking about when like
Yes.
there's no music playing. It's just the
Hmm.
actors, the dialogue, the weight of the scene.
Yeah.
It's not some crazy action. Like that was such a good scene.
Yep. It was.
And
And also one of the worst appointments of all time. There are two characters that I don't really care about. I feel like they just make silly decisions for their own
mhm,
benefit, and that is Alicent tends to do that,
yeah,
and Sir Kristen tends to do that, and he
mhm,
he is such a petty little punk.
he
Like the
is.
fact that Rhaenyra said no one time, and now he's just like cussing her out, calling her the bitch queen, and like it's like, oh man, way to hold a
Yeah,
grudge. Jeez.
like and like not only that, but like sending
Yeah, the
Sir
twin,
Chris
Sir Eric.
yeah sending the twin to like murder her.
Yep, that was a
It's like
dumb choice.
because they were like weren't they like you know love interest in season one?
Yep,
Yeah,
and
they
he
had
got
like all
and
yeah
yeah, and then she went off with the sea snake's son
yes
and
that's right.
said no.
Mm.
Yeah, said no to him, and then he immediately turned around, got
It's like,
together with Alicent, and hates Rhaenyra now.
it's like dude, I understand you're heartbroken, but kill her? You never really cared for her then.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
and I remember liking him in season one.
Yeah, I
'Cause
did. I did too. Yeah.
but you're right. In this season, he's a little petty. Like, and
Yeah.
I know like Allison, that's her name, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
having like their little love thing, and then
Yep.
I mean, she's pissed off at him now, right? To like, got her dad like off
Yeah. And
the
also the
council.
fact that it feels like he doesn't know what to do as Hand of the King. Like, and
No,
there's
I mean
one
he's
point
just a
during that
soldier.
meeting where he's just sitting there and everybody's like, is he going to say anything?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I don't
And
know. It's
the thing is like I understand the king, the actor. I don't even know his name. Do you know the
Aegon.
child's name?
Aegon.
Aegon the Conqueror.
Well,
I could,
that's a different Aegon. That's who
yeah,
Alicent, yeah, mixes
yeah,
Aegon, the current king, up with. Yeah.
correct, yeah. I understand him. He's young. He
Yep.
wants, he wants battles. He wants answers, and I totally understand his
Hmm.
perspective. Right,
I
like he's
agree.
pissed. Like his son got like freaking his head cut
Yeah.
off, and he's mad
How
at
do
the
you
hand
deal
for
with
telling him
that?
you need. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like so he's pissed off at the hand or his grandfather being like, we need to put them to show use this. He's like, no, I'm not going to put my son through that. Like I'm going to like
Yep.
I totally understand his head being like messed up right now. Like
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I mean I even put myself in his situation and like realistically I would like to say I would like to
I'd
do the
want
smart thing,
revenge.
but I would
Yeah.
be like him, like what do you guys are just talking. I want action. We see what they did. Like we saw what they did. Like what is there to talk
Yep.
about? So I totally like understand him, but Sir Christian or whatever, like you said, like come on, dude. Like
Yep.
I know like you're older, you're more mature, you should know this stuff. You're like a soldier, like
Hmm.
so yeah. And I think
Yeah.
he's using, the king's anger to that. I mean, I don't know if he's doing it
Yeah.
purposely, but like he knows that he's gonna listen to him because he wants action. The king wants
Right.
action.
Right. I like how in episode 3, like, so many people gave him crap about his plan with Sir Eric. Like,
Yeah.
2 or 3 people were like, yeah, that was dumb. Why did you do that?
Oh, it was good. And then what in season or episode 3, there was also that scene where Alicent's I keep on saying like Maleficent.
Yeah.
Alicent's brother came and wanted
Yeah.
to join. So they're planning on attacking Where are they planning on attacking? Do you remember?
I can't remember the name of it.
Isn't it where are they attacking where Damon is?
Yeah, I think so.
Or at least in that direction. I don't remember specifics.
I think is it Harrenhal? I think Harrenhal is where he is. I think that's where they want to attack.
Yeah. All I know is I remember them mentioning Damon's in the path.
Yeah.
Or like that's where Damon is. Something about Damon where that's where soldiers are heading. Anyways, Allison's brother comes and joins him, and I thought that scene was actually funny. He's like, I'm going in all cocky and stuff. Because, the army's trying to hide in the woods and stuff from the dragons flying by. And
that was a cool scene, by the way.
That was a cool scene. And I was just cracking up because he's all cocky, like, no, I think we'll be fine in. And then the dragon comes and attacks him to get the force. And he's all like crying and scared. And I was like, oh, I'm not so cocky now.
Yep, that's funny.
Oh, but yeah, I thought that was a great
seeing
scene.
The dragon.
All the dragon scenes are awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
There's so much, and these episodes are like over an hour long. So
yeah, there's one scene. I think it's in episode 3 where Rhaenyra is saying like we shouldn't use the dragons to attack, and she basically is talking about the dragons as like atomic bombs, like we have. It's like they should be used as a deterrent, because if we use them, it's going to be mutually assured destruction. And that's literally what the point of our atomic weapons are right now, is like if you have one, no one else can nuke you because you can nuke them back. If you have a dragon, no other dragon can attack.
The fear should be enough.
Yeah, it's putting off people from attacking you, especially with other dragons, because then you're just both going to destroy each other so much that it's not worth it.
Yeah, what you say, like if we start attacking dragons, it's like we're destroying ourselves.
Yep.
Like, yeah, that was interesting, and because her council's kind of going against her. Like, we need to take action. We need to fight.
Yeah.
Actually, I think on both sides, a lot of people are like, just like
they are.
Something.
That Sylvie character is interesting. She was there in season 1. But more interacting with Daemon. But I kind of like how she's more siding with Rhaenyra now, and is going to be part of her, like, council or something.
Almost like her own little whisper.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty cool.
She was interesting, and I liked how they used that, again, a smart thing where they kind of foreshadowed it. Like, she kind of sensed that wasn't the right twin.
Yep.
Because she had seen the other twin. Yeah.
Yep.
And so, like, that's how the other twin got there in time to save the queen. So, like,
and she had a line. She had Rhaenyra was like asking her why she came back, and I forget the exact quote, but she's like, "You're the only one in power who has shown mercy, and I feel like I should support that," or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, because she said, Rhaenyra is like, why didn't you leave? And she's like, because you let me leave. Like, that's why.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like
she stayed true to her word. She showed mercy. She could have just killed her and gotten what she wanted or whatever. But I like that. That's a good way to build trust, especially with a Master of Whispers who's not always that trustworthy.
Seriously. And I did like how Rhaenyra sent her other younger sons away.
Yeah. Another sad scene that she nailed.
And it like totally makes sense why she'd do that.
Yep.
Many just little scenes.
So she sends away the sons with with 4 dragon eggs. Are those the dragon eggs that what's her name gets?
Daenerys.
Yeah.
I was wondering that too, because they're leaving Westeros, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she gets 3 of them though, right? So they sent 4, 3. I think.
Yeah, they sent 4. They sent 4 eggs and 2 dragons, like, that are already alive, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, she only got 3 eggs, so I wondered that too, because that's how the eggs could have gotten out there.
Yep. So that's pretty
curious.
Cool, like connecting it. And there's little stuff like that I feel like I can't catch because it's just been so long. Like, I feel like I hear names like Tarly. I'm like, is that Sam's great-grandfather or whatever?
The Tullys or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, Tully, Lannister,
Even
It's
even what's this, the when they went at the beginning of was it episode 1 or 2 where they went to the wall and had
yeah, saw
um
some Starks.
yeah, Starks. Yeah, I thought that was. I'm always a sucker for some Starks, man. I think every Game of Thrones fans love the Starks, right? And the wall
Yeah.
and all.
Yep. Yeah, that was cool to see.
I kind of like it's cool because like we obviously it's cool like because we know what happens, but obviously what happens isn't that great. But you know what I mean, the whole
Yeah.
scheme of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they're not like the wall isn't focused on obviously at all in the series.
Yep.
And I don't think it will be, right? Like
No, I don't think so. Mm-mm.
yeah. Like I think you'll get maybe a glimpse like that, but I don't think they'll ever show like a White Walker or anything.
No, definitely not.
So
I think
which is fine.
that prophecy is about as close as it's gonna get.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, like little Easter eggs like that kind of just like I'm sure there's so much more that we aren't recognizing.
I'm sure I missed so many. Yeah.
But this for sure, I mean, this for sure is the shows we've talked about today is my number one.
Yep. Same.
It's on another level, man.
Yep.
Like so.
Absolutely.
I cannot wait to talk about it weekly so we can kind of dig into it.
Are there 10 episodes in this season also? Or I forget how many.
I don't think.
Look up how many episodes. A good question.
I don't even think there's 10 of them last season, was there?
Was it 8? Okay. So
I don't remember.
This season 2. Yeah, I think there's 8 episodes.
I think.
Okay.
I think it's 8 episodes.
In season 1. Yeah, season 2's 8. Oh, season 1 had 10. Okay.
Oh, so these are shorter. It's a shorter season.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess so. They're still really long episodes. Like, so
they are. I mean, they've all been over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I can't wait to talk about them weekly so we can kind of dig into the individual episode more.
Yep. Theorize more about what's going to happen. And yeah. I'm glad we went through everything today and we're caught back up.
Yeah, back on track this next week. When does the show air? On Sundays?
Sundays, yeah.
Okay.
So it'll air tomorrow, so we'll have that one to talk about next Sunday.
Yep. That's perfect, right before the new one comes out.
Yep.
Yep. Sweet.
All right. I will say before we end that the Elden Ring DLC is absolutely amazing. I beat it and I'm like 3/4 of the way done with my second playthrough. So good. So good.
How many hours did you put into it?
I think my first playthrough was like 30-something hours. And the second one's going quicker. Because once you know where stuff is and know some bosses, it definitely goes quicker. Yeah. Nice. I will say the last boss was probably my least favorite boss fight, but the rest of the boss fights are so good. I love them all. Besides that final boss,
Interesting. I'll get it eventually. But that's just too much of an investment right now. Because I would have to play through the whole original game too. Original game,
like replay some of it to get back to where you were. Yeah.
So like that. I do want to play it though. I mean, like I said, I started.
You'll get around to it.
Dark Souls 2.
Oh yeah, where are you at in that one?
I've slowed down. I still only played about like 5 hours.
Okay.
Just because I've been so freaking busy these last couple weeks. Yeah, I've
literally been sneaking away to get some game time in and stuff.
Yeah, like I've been playing my Switch a little bit. Like I got the Luigi's Mansion 2.
Oh, nice.
It's like bite-sized gaming, right? Like I play a level, turn it off, play another level when the kids are napping, turn it off. Like it's like I haven't had time to. If I'm playing like Dark Souls, like I need a few hours at least.
Yeah, definitely. You can't really do much in that short of time.
So far, I like. So far, I mean, again, I'm only 5 hours in. I do like Dark Souls 2. I still think I still think the game looks great in a different way. It has a different vibe.
I think Dark Souls 2 has the best hub world by far. Majula is so beautiful, and
it almost
the music
feels
is amazing.
Like a town, like its own little.
Yeah,
like kind of
the beach out there, the ocean out there. It's so different than other Dark Souls
It feels almost more like hopeful in a sense.
Yeah. Especially with the music. The music sounds hopeful for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, one thing I don't like is the rolling just feels so weird. So I've had to put some points into the ADP or whatever it is.
Yeah, adaptability. That's the first thing I did. I may have leveled up some health, but I went mostly adaptability.
I just don't understand why they did that. Why mess with something that's so good? Like,
yeah, they do a few of those things in that game. Like losing the intangibility on the fog walls, very weird.
Yeah, that happened to me a couple times. And man, and again, maybe I don't. It has to be true, but they just bombard you with enemies.
The runbacks to boss rooms are horrible. They're insane. Yeah,
Dark Souls 1. I mean, I played them back to back. It does not have that kind of these enemies. Number one, they're more aggressive.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they notice you from so far away.
Yeah, they notice you. They notice you from so far away, and then they'll just keep at it. Like I'll be running, and like they just don't stop.
Yeah,
and they're aggressive, and there's a ton. They kind of send a lot at you at once,
which is like a death sentence in Dark Souls. Like that's harder than some bosses. Is like 3 regular enemies.
So it almost doesn't even feel like as methodical. Like it almost just seems like you just freaking kill them, run and kill them, and get your stamina back up. Whereas in Dark Souls 1, there was like a rhythm to it, right? Like, okay, I'm going to dodge, roll this way, attack. Like you had more time to think about what you're going to do.
And plan out your moves and notice I feel like you don't have, with all those enemies, you don't have as much time to like notice their attack patterns and learn. No. It's like you're just being overwhelmed when they're all swarming you. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say the couple bosses I've played have been easier than Dark Souls 1 bosses. I don't know if that's a common thing.
I think Dark Souls 2 has overall some of the weaker bosses, like easier and less fun enemies. Yeah, and just more annoying mechanics overall. Some things.
It's weird.
It's still good though. It's still fun.
It almost feels like a fever dream. There's something weird about this game.
To me, it almost feels like a fan game or something, like a really polished, high-quality fan game. Like they wanted to make a game like Dark Souls, but they didn't get it quite right. They got the ideas, but not the technical details right. Yeah.
Because it feels like it's still, like I'm still having a blast. Like I really am. I'm only 5 hours in, so I don't. It just feels. I'm playing it. It just feels so weird. I don't know how to explain it.
Man, going from Dark Souls 2 to Dark Souls 3 feels so good. Dark Souls 3 feels a lot more like Elden Ring, much more modern, and it's like such a jump. It's like, oh, yes, this feels so right.
I will say, I read a lot of people will say, oh, I go back to Dark Souls 1 and it feels janky, but I really like the weightiness of Dark Souls 1.
Play Dark Souls 3 and then go back to Dark Souls 1. It feels super janky. Really? It's like, it's not even the weightiness. It's like the hitboxes that push you around, or like the slipperiness of the floors in some areas. It's like, why did I slide off that? There's just little things that I'm just like, they fix that and you can feel it.
All right. After I play Dark Souls 3, I'm going to try going back Dark Souls 1 and kind of see it.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't ruin the game. It kind of has a charm to it, kind of, but
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. I as of right now, I like the combat more in Dark Souls 1 than 2.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
But again, I think a lot of it has to do with just the putting the points into the ADP, and then also just the enemies more so than the combat.
Yeah.
But still, though,
and even like the level design isn't as good. Like,
no, you could definitely tell
Yeah. Dark Souls 1 level design is another level.
Oh yeah, and the fact you can teleport for 2/3 of the game, you could it was meant to explore, and you could tell in Dark Souls 2, travel's available. You can't play that game without traveling,
right?
Fast traveling.
Yep.
So it's definitely not as seamless and
even Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is way more linear than Dark Souls 1. Like the interconnectivity of Dark Souls 1, they just haven't done that again.
Yeah, that's the best map, you think?
Yeah, I mean, Elden Ring's map is good in a different way, but it's like open world versus non-open world
story type map.
It's Dark Souls 1 is such a great way to do a contained map where you can like find all these shortcuts and it all connects to each other and it all goes back to the hub world, and it's so good. And it makes replaying it even better because once you know those shortcuts and you know where to get the keys, like you can go anywhere and get any weapon you want really early on. Like it just makes replaying it more fun.
Yeah, like if I replay it, I'm going to get the master key this time now that I know the map.
Yeah, the master key's great.
But I remember when I was playing Elden Ring, I told you my favorite parts were like, the little dungeon parts. And I remember you saying, well, then you'll love Dark Souls 1.
Yep. Man, the DLC did such a good job of giving me that sense of exploration again, of like, oh, this is so new. What am I going to find around the corner? That's the best part of Elden Ring, in my opinion, is the first time you play it, just exploring everything and finding all these cool little things hidden all around. And the DLC lives up to that.
That's good to hear, because that was my favorite. Like that was my favorite thing about Elden Ring. Is just I've never. Like I think we mentioned it before in the podcast. Besides maybe Breath of the Wild, like I haven't felt that sense in a long time. A sense of like just awe and like a kid. Like I'm a kid playing on the new game. Like a video games felt when you're a kid. Like I don't know, got that sense of exploration and just the world is wonder. Interesting and so and the map
for the DLC is crazy. Like it's pretty big. When you start, you're like, oh, this is pretty big. And then you realize there's parts that go down and parts that go up. And you're like, how do I get there? What is that? And you go explore and you find this one cave and it leads you down. And you're like, oh, this is a whole new area. Like it's way bigger than I thought. And I already thought it was going to be big. So
yeah, I've heard the DLC has a lot more, verticalness. I don't know how you say that. More
in the map. Verticality.
Yeah, like verticality. Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, I'll get to there, but I got to play Dark Souls 2. I got to play Dark Souls 3. I need to beat Bloodborne.
Yep.
And then obviously Elden Ring, and then Sekiro 2. I need to play that.
Yes. Sekiro is such an interesting experience because it's like, I don't get this at all. This is really hard. Oh, I get it. This is amazing. It's so fun. It's like,
you think it will take me a few tries to get in that one?
It took me 2 times to get into it. And then I got to one boss where I just sat there and learned. And then every other boss, it was like a dance. It was like learning the moves to a dance and then just getting into the flow, and you just like go into a flow state of like parry, attack, parry. It's like so much fun. It's so satisfying. It's also the hardest to get into for sure, though.
Yeah. That'll be the latter one, the later one.
Yeah, I tried Sekiro like after Bloodborne. Actually, no. I think Sekiro might have been the first one I tried.
Really?
No, I tried I tried Dark Souls a long time ago, very briefly, but then I tried Sekiro, did not get it, and then beat, all the other games, and I'm like, I'm going to give Sekiro another try, and then I still struggled until that one boss, and then I got it.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, that... Because I kind of tried Dark Souls years and years ago.
Mm-hmm. It was on Games for Gold. That's when I tried it.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
That's how long ago it was.
Yeah, I didn't get it, and then obviously after Elden Ring, and then you telling me to play it again, like it's great, and I mean I don't want to toot my own horn, it wasn't like excruciatingly hard for me.
Yeah, I was surprised because there were some bosses I had like heard about how annoying they were, like Ornstein and Smo. Do you remember them? The double boss in Anor Londo in Dark Souls 1.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
And double bosses are notoriously annoying. But I first tried them. I was like, oh,
I did too.
Did I just get better, or is this not as hard as it used to be? Because like bosses are just getting harder and harder. So that was interesting.
Like I said, I struggled the most with the last boss, and it's because I was trying to be something I wasn't.
Yeah, you were trying to parry him.
I was just trying to parry and parry and parry.
Probably not a great idea to learn a new mechanic on the final boss.
No, and like, dude, it literally probably took me like 3 days of trying because I was just trying so hard, like a few hours each day.
Yeah.
And then I'm finally like, you know what? I could parry the first time. The first time he lunged at you, I could parry every time. So I'm like, I'm just going to do that. Then I'm going to play my style the rest of the time. And then like 2 tries later, I beat it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yep. I will say the last boss in the DLC for Elden Ring is the longest I've ever been stuck on a boss. It probably took me 6 to 8 hours to beat him. So like even Melania didn't take. I mean, maybe Melania may have taken me around the same time. I feel like it was a little less, but that boss is crazy. They overtuned the crap out of that boss.
I've heard the DLC is super hard.
Yeah, so satisfying though.
But yeah, I'll get there. Like I said,
I mean, I think it's good to build up to it, especially since you've already started Dark Souls 2. You can wait for the DLC to go on sale or something to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
because Dark Souls 2 will take a while. I heard Dark Souls 2 is a lot longer than Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
And then, excuse me. Like I said, right now I've kind of slowed down, just been playing Luigi's Mansion, which is kind of a nice change. Nintendo and Dark Souls is like the perfect complementary gaming.
Yeah, very different types of games. Good to wind down.
Yes. Oh, I did get Paper Mario as well, 1,000 Year Door.
Oh, nice. That's a great game.
Just because I did like that $99 deal or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, I played it when I was younger, but I haven't. I'm gonna play it again after I beat Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
That's
a great one.
It's nice to have like a wind down game in between, like I said, in between the Dark Souls stuff.
And when you can play handheld.
Yeah, it's true. With kids and like such a busy life, when I only have like an hour or so, it's like, okay, I'll just play a couple levels in Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if the PlayStation or even Xbox made like a dedicated handheld system, like that, not streaming, but like, like you're actually like a Steam Deck type thing, I would 100% get it. As like
that's
a person with 3 kids and a wife.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being very useful.
Yeah, or even me, like if I go on a work trip to California, I could just take that and play Dark Souls there in a hotel.
True.
I know people lunge around systems, but like I mean, for like a 2-day trip, I'm not gonna do.
I don't like bringing systems to like hotels or on airplanes.
Yeah. So like I've heard little rumblings about Microsoft possibly doing a handheld.
That would be cool.
And like a dedicated handheld, and I would get it, dude. I would 100% get it, no questions asked.
Yep.
Like I've actually kind of been itching to get like a Xbox One S, like the cheaper one.
Yeah.
Just because I have kind of been itching to like play the old Halo games and even play Halo Infinite.
Yeah,
and the new Gears that is coming out.
Probably beat that. Yeah, the new Gears. That's right.
And even
Fable.
Like
although
Fable,
I don't know, is Fable going to be on other consoles too?
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah.
Or shoot, and even if the new Elder Scrolls, if that's like only Xbox 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in like 10 years.
Yeah, whenever that will be.
Like there's part of me that's been slowly like maybe like on a sale Black Friday, you can find those things for like $200.
Yeah, I definitely like having both. It's nice that I can. I don't have anything I can't play if I really want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I have friends out here that play like Halo Infinite online. I'm like, oh, it'd kind of be nice to be able to hop on online every once in a while and play some like Halo Infinite. But, and I know you could do like laptops and stuff, but I sit at a computer every day. I prefer a console.
Yeah, I get that.
So, but anywho, all right. Well, I guess we've been talking long enough.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably our longest podcast, but it's also the longest break we've had, so that makes sense.
That is true. That is true.
I do have a quiz that we might be able to do next time. I have 2 quizzes, so we'll probably get back into our normal flow.
I don't think we have anything next week. I know Twisters comes out, but I don't know if you want to see that or not.
Yeah, I haven't seen the original, but I feel like that's the kind of movie that you don't really need to.
Yeah, I doubt you do.
I doubt there's going to be any deep lore that I need to know about twisters.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, there's some deep... that twister was from 30 years ago. It's back.
Oh, I totally missed that.
The same twister, bro.
What a twist. Ha ha.
No. I do like how they named the sequel Twisters with an S.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I
think that fits for the franchise. Like that, yeah.
Yeah, instead of just like thinking of music, just a Twister 2.
Yeah.
And then here in a few weeks, we have Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely one we need to watch.
Which, God, we might have a whole episode just dedicated on that.
Yeah.
Because that's one I'm going to take notes in because I'm sure I've read there's going to be so much cameos and little things.
Nice. Yeah.
So
that's going to be fun.
Yeah. But yeah, we should be back to regular scheduled programming next week.
Yep.
Sweet. Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Well, yeah. Thanks everyone for listening in to the podcast, and we will see you next week.
Peace.